Hello and welcome to Not Gambling Advice, the baseball and football betting stream on the Just Baseball Network. People listening on the TikTok live stream, come over to Twitch because we have a loaded show. Normally, we do a bunch of recaps and then we go over every game for NFL Week 4. I got a couple of picks. I got props. But instead of wasting everybody's time with the recap, we're just going to do it right now. Producer Cohen, if you could flash the recap slide for us, because we got to get straight to Gino from Bet Openly. We're going to go over all the games. We ain't wasting anybody's time. All right? I had the Detroit Lions -1.5 at -115. Smacked it. I also took the under 46. That was not the right bet. However, I am still upset. I'm going to talk about it with Gino in a minute. Player props. Sam Laporta went way over 43.5. We were locked in on there. Unfortunately, it was the best/worst Prize Picks entry maybe ever created. Romeo Doubs, I took his under 40.5 receiving yards. That was a big load of crap. I think he had 95. I think he was Jordan Love's favorite target. And as you can see, I am in my bedroom, in my New York City apartment. The issue, New York City, I don't know if you've noticed, if you don't live here or whatever, we are completely flooded. Producer Cohen and I are doing this, trying to do this remotely at this point. Not gambling advice, absolutely. That hat is sick, thank you. We're rocking the Mariners. We're rocking the Mariners hat, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, why don't we just bring on Gino from Bet Openly? Why don't we just get this thing started? Gino.
My dude, can I throw you a bone?
Absolutely, you can.
So my biggest bet yesterday was the first half over, and I feel like that was the best bet in the entire game. I guess you could argue Detroit over would be, but Detroit first half. But I don't think that over in the game hits as many times as people think. No. That fourth and 9 or that fourth and goal, if they don't convert that, I don't think that over hits.
How about in the third quarter when the clock hits 0 and they still have a free play and they push it 40 yards downfield?
Fair enough. But
then I almost lucked out. That last play too, where they were supposed to kick a field goal, but there was a flag. And then I was please get it to the 1 yard line. So they have to go for it on fourth. They do. And I'm like, oh my, this is it. This is how we hit the under. And
of course, you imagine having an over taken off the board? Oh, dark.
But see, on primetime, that's why I feel like I love primetime unders, because like shit like that happens where they literally take points off the count.
I mean, the Detroit defense played fantastic. The Green Bay offense is very questionable, and putting a feather in my cap, the Green Bay defense is not as good as everyone thought they were. They got ran up and down, and if they kept the foot on the gas, they could have scored 40 themselves, Detroit.
Yeah, remember, I really do think that it was a result of that system that I talked about. Really what led me to the Lions. Team is down by 9 at half. They exert a lot of energy. They come back and they're only 38% against the spread. Like, that's a system that I love to play because it's directly impacting like a player's level of energy on the field. So if they're already tired after that win and then it's a short week, my issue is I really wish I just faded the Packers. Like, that was the main part of the cap. So I thought it would go under because I didn't think the Lions would have put up 34, but they did. And that's why I took the loss there. But Gino, I think why don't we just get straight into the NFL?
Let's do it.
We only got 30 minutes. And when I say only 30 minutes for you and I, we could go on for 3 hours.
I know, bro.
I got picks. You got picks. You got plenty of them. Let's get people fed. So we'll start with Falcons versus Jaguars. Producer Cohen, if you could just go straight to NFL on BetMGM so we don't have any of the college games mixed in. There we go. Okay. So, yeah, we'll start with Falcons versus Jaguars. Gino, I don't know if you have a play on here. What I do know is that favorites in London have been prolific, but that line has been sticking at 3, and I think the public has seen that come in, and you have a play on this game. You're on the Falcons money line for 1.5 units at plus 130. Tell us why you like the Falcons to win the game outright.
Yeah, I have this true line at Atlanta plus 110. So plus 110 versus plus 135 will always earn money out of me. I do like the +3 hook. I had this at 2.5 back when I liked the money line better. So I'd probably actually split that in half. But for the show, we can keep it official. I have a unit and a half on Atlanta Falcons money line here, so I'm going to ride that one out. From power rankings to true line, both point to the Falcons here. I think people are really expecting these Jaguars to be something they're not.
Is it that you don't believe in the Jaguars right now? Is that it? Because for me, this feels like a get right spot. Also, it's going to be a relative home game. Producer Cohen, if you could drop the Falcons bet slip so we can see Gino now. I feel like this feels like a spot. And again, I'm not betting this game because I don't bet the London games at all. I feel like weird, fluky stuff happens. That's probably why it's a good idea to kind of be on the dog here.
Half of them are wet. I remember them all being like on mush.
Yeah.
Fog.
I'll be honest with you. I do lean Jaguars -3, but I would make this line 3. That's why I don't really see value on either side.
Yeah.
I don't really have much on this game. These London cross the country games. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say this is a Jags get right. If you look back on that Houston game, people aren't going to do this, but it got away from them. It really should have been 7-6. Like, how often do you miss a short field goal and get one blocked the other way? Like, when it was 14-0, it should have been 7-6. So you can buy the Jags low here. The reason I'm buying the Falcons is, you can also buy them low here. And I believe the Falcons have had tougher teams they've played against. This Jags D looked good early in the season and then just didn't. And they had a number of chances to get that game back in their grasp in division. And I watched it slip away. Something's just not right with them. Something's not clicking. I think Falcons are able to put up with their 2 running backs. I think they're able to control this game on the ground.
The stats do agree with you. In terms of EPA per play, the Falcons rank 20th on offense, and you would say, well, that's not very good. Well, the Jaguars rank 29th. Their offense just has not gotten going, and it's the result of a lot of drops. It's a result of sometimes they're not running the ball enough. Sometimes they're running the ball too much. It's been some kind of strange play calling. And then on defense, the Falcons rank 13th in EPA per play, and the Jaguars rank 15th. So on both sides of the ball so far, the Falcons have been the better team, but they are dogs in this matchup because I think a lot of people are expecting the Jaguars just to be the better team. I don't mind you choosing the value on the +130 because I think it's kind of one of those games where the Falcons win outright or the Jaguars cover.
Yeah, I agree, brother.
Let's go to Dolphins versus Bills.
Woo.
So one of my...
Right?
Sorry?
It's the game of the week, right?
I think this might be the game of the week, and I have a play on it. This is my first pick on stream. I'm going Bills -2.5 here. So it's funny. Stuckey put this out. You guys got to go follow him on Action Network. This is kind of a funny system. Teams, after they put up 70 points, are 0-1 against the spread in their next week because it's only happened one time in NFL history, I'm pretty sure, because I think the record was 73. That's why there was that drama of should they have kicked the field goal, whatever. I don't really care. But I'm sticking to my guns here. I picked the Bills to win this division. And when I look at the Dolphins' schedule, I don't give them a ton of credit for who they have beaten so far, right? They beat the Chargers by 2 points. They really control the game against the Patriots. But again, I'm not a Patriots believer. Then they put up 70 points against the Broncos. And if you go back and watch that game, which I did, because I had to make sure I was watching the same thing I watched the first time I watched it, they could not get off a block. And I mean that by the Broncos defense. And when we look at some of the defenses that the Miami Dolphins have faced so far, the Broncos rank dead last in EPA per play by a mile. And that has a lot to do with that 70-point performance. But we've seen a bunch of teams put up plenty of points against the Denver Broncos. They also beat up on the Chargers, who are 28th in EPA per play. Now, you could say, well, the Patriots are a good defense, right? Yeah, they rank 11th in EPA per play. But the Buffalo Bills are your second best defense in the NFL so far through 3 weeks, just trailing the Cleveland Browns. And Sean McDermott in his career has been very good against Tua, right? The only time that the Dolphins have beaten the Bills, they're 1-3 in their last 4 meetings. That's with Tua and Josh Allen. This is the best defense that the Dolphins are going to face. I think the Bills are frankly just the better team because we know how prolific the Miami Dolphins defense or the offense is. But at the same time, when we look at offensive ratings, the Buffalo Bills rank 3rd to the Miami Dolphins. And if the offenses aren't that far away, and the defenses certainly are, I got the 2nd best defense in the Bills to the 16th best defense in the Dolphins. I think I have the better head coach. And I know Mike McDaniel is a great one, but I would give McDermott the edge in this matchup because of his success against Tua in the past. The fact that we're getting the Bills under a field goal at home, I think no matter what your expectations were about the Dolphins, when you made their schedule and predicted wins or losses, you probably gave the Dolphins a loss here. And with the public all over the Dolphins, but that line not budging, and in places it's going up to 3, I love the Bills in this matchup. It's one of my favorite picks of the year so far. Gino, what do you think?
I like this under, brother, for every reason you gave, and I'll add to it. The Dolphins didn't look that crazy against New England, right? And I get that, right? It's division. It's Bill Belichick. He had time to prepare, et cetera, et cetera. But I think the Bills have their defense gets overshadowed. Their defense is overshadowed because we only talk about their offense. We only expect Stephon Diggs and all of that. So I'm amazed that this is actually 53.5 and not like 50.5, which might not seem like a huge difference, but it's tough to get the game up to 54. It really is, especially a division game. So I do lean the Bills. I just don't want, I'm kind of a lame fan sometimes. I don't want to cheer against the Dolphins. So I have no bet on a team in this game. But I will be on the under 53.
No, that makes sense. And yeah, SVP Analytics says opened at 49 before the 70-point game. Exactly. Like you would expect steam to go up, especially after a team puts up 70 and then the Bills put up 37 against the Commanders. And you could say, well, the Bills haven't had a tough schedule either. I agree. They haven't had that tough of a schedule. But when you look at both teams and you look at how both teams graded out metrically through the first three weeks, there isn't really a schedule advantage. And through those first 3 weeks, I have the 2nd best defense and the 3rd best offense and a history of success against Tua. And one thing to add, Gino, to your under, you got Adrian Hill reffing this game, who is the primetime unders GOAT, 43-25 in his career as the crew chief here. He's a big calling penalties guy. And this is one of the most public bet overs of the week. I love this under.
That's
I might even play it myself.
This is to me is the classic fade the public. You got the early division, first 8 weeks division. And then last but not least, guys, let's not forget that, Dolphins had to go into Buffalo in the playoffs. So there's a lot of bitter blood there. These teams know each other. And I always favor unders and defenses when teams start to get to know each other really well.
And do you have anything on these Broncos Bears game? Like I could read you systems, we could do a lot, but I feel like we're wasting time because this is literally the toilet bowl. Does anybody want to talk about this game?
I'm glad you said that. In our show, Discipline to Gens, I said, guys, there's so many bets this weekend. Like, do yourselves a favor and have nothing on this game. That's all I said.
Actually, with that said, one of my favorite props is in this game. I kind of forgot.
Do it. Hit it.
So, Roschon Johnson. Split backfield here with the Chicago Bears, right? You see Khalil Herbert, but both of them are starting to split the backfield. It's been about 8 to 9 carries per back. Of course, you have Justin Fields running the ball, but there is no worse run defense. And now the numbers are spiked because, of course, what Miami did on the ground against this Broncos team, but they were not good at all in the first 2 games either. And what we've seen between Johnson and Khalil Herbert, Johnson has been the more efficient running back. And in a must-win game for the Bears, you're 0-3. Are you going to play the guy who has been more efficient once you start doing the split backfields? Or are you just going to go to Khalil Herbert because he's the more seasoned veteran here? And Khalil Herbert's line is at 39.5, while Johnson's line is at 30.5. So while they're getting the same amount of carries, Khalil Herbert is just the more popular player. So I love Johnson's over 30.5. I took it on Prize Picks yesterday. It was already up to 31.5, and then it's already juiced. And based on what he's done so far, he gets about 8 carries a game and he's averaging 5 yards per carry. But this is going to be the easiest rush defense he's ever gone against this season, by far the worst in the NFL. I just don't think the lines have adjusted to him yet because he's new and there's a split backfield and there's Justin Fields. But this team is going to have to establish the run against the Broncos. So I love Johnson, and you can see it right there, over 30.5 rushing yards. It's actually 0.3 units, producer Cohen. I changed it up a little bit. It's 0.3.
Woo.
And then I forgot as well, when we were talking about Bills Dolphins, this is the second part of my two-legger. James Cook, over 56.5. It's cool to see he's already at 57.5 on Prize Picks. We're looking at a Miami run defense that's also not been any good. 29th out of 32 NFL teams so far. James Cook has flown over this in his last 2 games because now he is officially the bell cow for the Buffalo Bills. I'm obsessed with James Cook's matchup in this game. The Bills are going to have to soak clock. They're going to have to run the football against Miami to keep the ball out of Tua's hands. And they ain't giving it to anybody else except James Cook. And you can run on this Miami defense. And based on his yards per carry, he's averaging about 14 to 15 carries at about 5 yards per carry against better run defenses. That's 63 yards. So the books just haven't caught up to him yet, in my opinion. And he's also facing the Dolphins. I don't think anybody's really looking at the Bills running back in this spot. So those are my 2 favorite props of the weekend.
One thing I'd add too in this Bears-Broncos games while we have it is I like gaining points for free in the first 4 weeks. And I do believe if this was an opening day matchup, it would have been Broncos minus 1.5. So if you guys made me bet this, I'm Bears money line.
Fair enough. Let's get to Ravens-Browns. I think you got something in this game, correct?
Yeah, I'm buying the Ravens pretty hard here. Ravens money line. The reason being, I know Deshaun Watson, I guess, is not ruled out. I thought he was ruled out, but I want him in because he's done absolutely nothing to win games in my book. And this is going to sound a little, downstream, but the Ravens are still favored to win this division. This was -3 all week. I don't know when it dropped to -1, but we were watching it all week. It was -3. So I was surprised. I thought the public was going to hold it up. So this to me tells me substantial sharp money is coming in on the Ravens because the public was holding this up to 3, and heavy money must have came in. And it's a typical buy low, sell high spot in the division, and Ravens are still favored to win this division.
Well, Lamar Jackson as a dog, the systems are crazy on him. I don't have the exact numbers, but I know the Ravens, I think in the Lamar Jackson era, are like 18-9 against the spread as dogs. You're taking the divisional dog in this matchup. My only worry is the Ravens are so banged up, and there is no better defense in the NFL than the Browns. I lean the under in this matchup. I was actually looking to bet it at 41, and then I didn't, and now it's at 39, and kind of the value's gone. But I still think this is one of those 17-14 games. But I like taking the dog in this matchup, especially in this just ugly, and when I say ugly, I mean it in the best way possible, just because the defenses, they just hit the living shit out of each other. So taking the dog in this matchup, I tend to like it, but I feel like the value is gone already. So you like the Ravens plus the 3, but I don't think you submitted it because the line is kind of gone.
No, yeah, exactly. I gave it out on a Tuesday, but it's not on a card here, and I'm not giving it out anymore because it's gone. Kind of like you with the under. I lost value. I was getting greedy. I really wanted 3.5, and I believe there's some really good stats about both these teams. Mind you, they're every year it's a different team, but just historicals that Ravens versus the Cleveland Browns there's been a substantial amount of ownership the last X amount of years. And also the Browns we call them a zigzag team. They seem to go win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. And they do that and can't form together multiple wins in a row. There's just a lot of reasons I like the Ravens. And I do believe one of the squarest plays this week will be the Browns from a public perspective.
I don't know if the public's going to come in heavy on the Browns, but again, I didn't touch this game. Bengals, Titans. I totally understand why people would take the Titans, and I know you have them in a teaser. But for me, this game, I think the Titans either win the game outright if Burrow doesn't look good, and if he does look good, the Bengals cover the 2.5. It's kind of where I see this game. And it opened at 3. There's definitely sharp money on the Titans. I understand the Titans are definitely the sharp side. I get it. But the way to beat the Titans is throwing the ball down the field. And if Burrow can look good throwing the ball down the field, they're going to win this game. That's how to beat them. But you got Mike Vrabel off an ugly loss.
Against your boys, right? He didn't look good throwing the ball against your boys.
Not at all. I just don't know what he's going to look like. It's been tough for me to cap Bengals games because there's a part of me that just thinks that he's going to bounce back one of these days, but we just haven't seen it yet. And he didn't look great against this Rams team who, I know my Rams, they have a horrible defense. So.
Yeah. Man. So the Titans aren't going to let them run the ball. We know that, right? Nasty is garbage, which, on paper, you're like, well, the Bengals have the firepower. I really like the under in this game. Making a team one-sided completely allows you to run nickels and stuff. To me, from a Wong perspective, this is one of my favorite plays. Like the Titans, you can't drop to 1-3. Of course they can. They can lose this game, but they got to keep it close, not get blown out at home, etc. And they do that. And there's also a pretty solid system that Titans at home off a loss, unders like to hit.
Titans at home off a loss, unders like to hit. Yeah, it's a great Wong teaser. Because I know the Wong teaser is supposed to look at totals under 49. I think the safer ones look at a total under 44 and below. Just kind of make the Wong teaser, because if it's a higher scoring game, I just think there's generally more variance.
Of course.
So if I'm ever going to tease, I got to have a really, really low total. And it's not a surefire plan, but what I will say is this Bengals Titans game at 41 fits that. So 100%. I think the Titans are a great teaser piece. The only issue is the only reason I didn't tease them was because I think the Bengals can win by 10 if Burrow looks good. So that's why I just didn't touch this game, but I totally understand Titans in a teaser. Rams Colts, you got to play on the Rams. I'd love to hear it.
Let me sneak in one line too, guys. I actually don't think blindly doing the Wong anymore is profitable. I've looked at it the last 3 years. It's not. So you actually have to be a little sharp and strategic on which ones you're skipping. For instance, both the Ravens and the Jags fit the Wong last week and both lost. So if you had that scattered through a bunch, you would have lost money. So you don't blindly Wong anymore. Just know that the Wong exists and pick and choose your battles. But Houston and Titans are where I see the most value for a Wong this week. And again, I would even go as far to say don't tease. But if you're going to strategically Wong, there's money to be made. Here Rams. This is purely a power rankings play for me. I think this is insulting to make the Rams minus 110. Yeah, everyone's going to be buying the Colts high off of a big win versus Baltimore. I get it. I'm not. And this is, if you went, I do this a lot, guys, so I hope this is helpful to people. I live and die by my power rankings, and I don't care about a week or two difference. I say to myself, if these two teams played last week, 1 week ago, Rams would have been minus 3.5, minus 3. Now, all of a sudden, you're going to gift me 3.5 to 4 points based on a loss for the Rams in primetime, where they looked on offense. And the Colts magically have this power team that can just, slow down Baltimore and put up points whenever they want. So to me, this is free points on the Rams. And at money line, looking at these two guys, take the +1 at minus 105. A point is worth 5%. I never buy points, but just looking at those two, if the money line really is a pick 'em, take the +1. Purely power rankings. I don't have the Colts in my top 15. I have the Rams in my top 15.
Yeah, this is an interesting spot because you're looking for a letdown by the Colts after that win against the Ravens. But at the same time, I've never felt that taking these Monday night teams and then when they go on the road is generally a profitable way to make money. So while I lean the Rams, and we're going to get to the Bucs in a second, I lean the Bucs. I've gotten burned on them before when I really liked the spot and it seemed like a good spot. Like you're only on it for a half unit again. So I don't mind the spot at all. I would lean both those teams. Like if you put a gun in my head and said, would you bet the Rams and the Bucs? I would say yes. But I just feel that betting on these Monday Night Football teams when they got to go back on the road. They're just not in the best spot as a team. They don't have as much time to prepare.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see the defenses, they run out of gas at the end of the games. And with Anthony Richardson coming back, it's even harder to prep for a guy like that, right? There's not much tape on him so far. He could look great, he could look bad. But generally, this is a spot where I want to fade the Colts. I would actually take the Rams over taking the Bucs, just because I think that Bucs line is exactly what I would put it at. Like when I go over the games and then I guess what I think the spread should be versus what it is, I had Bucs at 3.5. So like I want to bet the Bucs, but like I don't see any value. Should be 3.5. So those two games in particular, I just stayed away because in the Saints game, it's going to be Jameis Winston. The Saints defense is prolific. I have a hard time believing that Baker is going to have much success because you could tell the Saints run defense is great. And if Rachaad White, they can't run the ball, you just kind of have Baker sitting back in the pocket.
I'm with you here. And I would add too, you're showing a lot of discipline, guys. So I respect that. Like the avoiding teams on Monday Night Football and stuff. Like a lot of bettors don't have that. That's why I try and cover every game. But simplifying this Bucs even more, I don't think the Bucs should offensively be able to do anything against the Saints that they couldn't do against the Eagles. So how on earth could I take the Bucs here? How could I feel comfortable? Now you do have like the more generic systems, the early season division dogs, stuff like that. And I think these Bucs are lucky to be 2-1. Really, I do based on their schedule. They're not striking me as that great. A lot of people were like, "Why aren't the Bucs in your top 15 power rankings?" 2 weeks ago, after they were 2-0, and I said, "Let's watch them this week." And I just don't think that's a good spot. I watched how little they could do. I watched how little Baker could do against Philly, and I have Philly and the Saints as pretty high defenses in my NFC rankings.
Makes sense. Commanders versus Eagles. I want to take the Eagles.
Ooh, you do?
No, I mean I didn't, but I want to. I you know how much I dislike the Commanders. I think Sam Howell just faced an actual good defense and got absolutely exposed for the quarterback that he is. I don't love this Commanders defense. I think a lot of people are obsessed with it. But I thought it was a little bit overrated coming into the season, and now they're 18th in EPA per play. Like, I don't think this is a good team.
I'm with you.
Taking the under in a divisional game because I don't think the Commanders are going to score. So
this is one of those, and I want to say this clear so no one misbets this. I don't bet 5 units. I just bet too much volume. Pete sees some of my slates some days and he laughs at me. He's like, Jesus, man, you have 10 plays out. So I just don't bet 5 units. But mathematically, this would be a 5-unit play for me. This is the play I like the most this week, just from a data perspective. I'm selling the Phillies offense. I'm buying the Phillies defense. I've been extremely impressed with the Phillies defense, and I don't think they're overperforming. I think they're playing to what they are. And to Pete's point, I think you're getting this a little higher because of what Washington's been able to do, especially against like a team like Denver. Like, who cares what they did against Denver? Look what Denver, it's almost like move that game off and the mean drops. I'm very surprised how high this over-under is. I would not be surprised if this game had almost an identical score to Philly Tampa Bay, and that would make Pete happy. So I can't see Philly scoring more than 24. And I do not think the Commanders put up 20. So this is where I see this under hitting like 7 different ways.
Yeah, this is a great play. And as you can see, it's already down to 43.5. So what's your cutoff point for this one?
I have the true line here is 39.
Well, you do have it at minus 130 at 44.5.
Yeah. I mean, we text them and I got them at different lines and odds. So, but I want to play ball. So, guys, I like this. You lose the true line at 39.5 means don't bet it, right? Because it's a true line, you're losing 10%. But I would say I would take this all the way to 41. I really would. I see 24-13 as like the be all end all, and I'm more liking a 20-13. That's how low I think this game could go. I do think you're getting this over still or under still so high because people expect Philly to have that can off game where Philly puts up 27-30. I don't think that will be this game.
I kind of want to tail this. Vikings, Panthers, another game that I want absolutely no part of. This 4.5 feels like a fugazi to me. I think the Panthers either lose this game by 3 or lose it by 7. I think the 4.5 is just a placeholder for this game. I think it's going to be Bryce Young. And if it's Bryce Young, I literally want no part of the Panthers. And so that's why I like seeing you on the Vikings. I think this is the right side. They are I'm so anti-Vikings, but I took the Panthers under win total. I could not be any more anti-Panthers. I think their defense isn't very good. I almost put Alexander Mattison over 50.5 rushing yards as one of my favorite plays because the Panthers have one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. And we finally saw Alexander Mattison kind of break through in his last game, 20 attempts for over 90 yards rushing. I like over 50.5. I haven't bet it yet, but that would be my favorite play from this game. Talk about why you like the Vikes.
Yeah, I think points are going to come very cheap in this game. And this one hurts me because I had the Panthers every which way in Seattle. I was so happy when they were up at halftime. I was like, oh, great play, Gino. You're so smart. And then they came crumbling down. I just don't – something's wrong with this Panthers team. Who they ended last year with as and who they are today, night and day. I genuinely believe the Vikings saved their season here. I don't even know if it can be saved, but I think they need for morale. They're getting their easiest team so far, not just record-wise, but on all my scores and power rankings. And I think they need to have a traditional morale winning win where they just throw up points. I like the over in this game, but I didn't see any value on it, but I lean it. And I believe the Vikings should at least win this game by 7. At least. And there's nothing I've seen. These Panthers can't stop the run. They can't run the ball. They can't do anything that they could do at the end of last year. I had high hopes for the Panthers coming into this season. The way they ended so strong last year, I don't know what happened.
Texans Steelers, because we'll just move past that game. I think, Gino's on the Vikings. He knows what he's doing when it comes to betting. For me, I want no part of it. I love the Texans plus the 3 at -115. Absolutely obsessed with it. This feels like the exact same game as when I gave the Colts against the Ravens. It's my second sandwich spot of the year. So we're going to start to see these, and these are some of my favorite bets in the NFL is looking at the travel schedule and seeing where you'll find a letdown spot. This is a prime letdown spot for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Houston Texans have the better quarterback in C.J. Stroud over Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett, by EPA per play, completion percentage over expectation, is one of the 5 worst quarterbacks in the NFL so far this season. They can't run the ball, but they had a very lucky win over the Browns where they returned 2, either a fumble or a pick 6. And then on the other side, you beat a Raiders team, which I power ranked near the bottom of the NFL. I think they're terrible too. The Texans, I don't think, are terrible. The only way the Steelers have been able to move the ball is to getting the ball to their wide receivers in George Pickens. Well, the Texans have multiple really good cornerbacks, so they can really stomp all over the Steelers offense. And now the issue is, well, are the Texans going to be able to score on the Steelers? Right? We got offensive line injuries for the Texans, but at the same time, the secondary is where you beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. And C.J. Stroud can throw the ball. He's been extremely impressive so far. So we got the Steelers on Monday Night Football coming in as the road team. And then, which I already like to fade, then they face a division game next week against the Ravens. This is a very easy spot to overlook. And when you are tailing Mike Tomlin, you want to take him as a dog. You want to take him as a road dog, a home dog. As a road favorite, this is normally the game where the Steelers lose. In the Tomlin era, road favorites against teams with a losing record, 9-22 against the spread, Gino. I think the Texans win this game outright, but I feel very safe swallowing the 3 points with Houston.
And this is my second favorite play in terms of the Wong teaser. My biggest Wong teaser, I gave out 3, but the biggest one was I'm drawing a blank right now, but the Texans were the second one in it, and the first one was Tennessee. So I like this. I like a defensive battle here. I'm glad you said all that about Kenny Pickett because I always had to hear about people talking about how much better he is than Brock Purdy in every sense of the word. And I'm going to jam in my Brock Purdy love. So long story short, he has no touch on the ball. We get it, bro. You got a strong shoulder. He's like throwing it like a shortstop at first base when guys are running 5-yard hooks. It's insane how many bad throws I've watched him make and decisions. So, this guy, the Texans have a really good head coach now, really good defensive coordinator, former defensive coordinator, head coach. They're going to be a defensive minded squad. So for me, this is a no brainer in your Wong.
So we got to get MidMajor on here soon.
Bang out my plays and we'll go.
Yeah, we'll just finish up your plays really quickly, and then we'll get MidMajor on, and we'll kind of do the same thing here. So good, Gino, do you have any other plays? So the plays remaining: Raiders, Chargers, Patriots, Cowboys. Perfect. Just give us the Patriots pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. So I saw nothing last week for Arizona to make me think Dallas is going to score more than 17 against these Patriots. I don't know where this spread came from. Very surprised by it. I hate that I'm buying the Patriots high and selling the Cowboys low, guys. I want to be really clear on that. I don't like doing that. But this should be -4 or +4 on my side. I'll take Belly getting 2.5 free anytime. So the Patriots are sneaky. Their schedule has been brutal. Their offense is underrated as they have played really good defenses. I'm not saying it's a good offense. I'm just saying it's underrated. And their D is top. Their D, I think, is underrated too because of some of the tough matchups. Don't forget what they did against this Miami Dolphins team. The Dallas offense is substantially worse. Give me 6.5 all day.
And then Cardinals, 49ers.
So you guys know I know my Niners. We're nasty. But this is only a half unit play, so please don't hang on every word. This 14 is just not right. The Giants played us good until they didn't. Well, that's great, right? What the hell are you saying? They had the 3rd and longs changed the first half and changed the game. I'd take Arizona here as low as 11.5, and I mean that. They battle us. They know us. It's 1.5, or excuse me, it's a half a unit for a reason. This game could be Niners up 3-7 for 3 quarters, and then poof, 17-21. We go 2 touchdowns unanswered. I just think this is priced wrong based on a lot of things. It's really weird spread, really weird. Only half a unit for that reason.
Fair enough. And anything else?
I think we covered everything. I got your Rams. I got the Vikings under in Buffalo, Miami, Falcons. I think we're good, dude.
Phenomenal, Gino. So we'll see you later. We got to bring up MidMajor Matt to give his picks as well. And then while MidMajor Matt is here, I'll go over my Chiefs versus Jets pick for Sunday Night Football. Gino, appreciate you, my friend.
Later, homie.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got MidMajor Matt coming on.
Hey,
Handsome. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Would you mind if we pulled up the BetMGM odds while you speak? We could just go through the games.
I do not mind at all. I am short for time, though, so I got to go very fast on my end. Sorry.
Let's do it. No, let's do
it. But I cannot miss the last day of the MLB stream while I'm vying for first place. I'm only in position to do so because yesterday's Orioles game soared the fuck under first 5.
Yes, it did.
Market mover.
Do you want to start with MLB plays first or get into NFL?
Yeah, we'll knock on MLB real quick because no one's fucking betting MLB right now except sick people, and I'm sick, so we'll knock them out.
Producer Cohen, if we could go to BetMGM and look at the MLB odds while we go through MidMajor's slate, because guys, I know I didn't really intro because we just got straight into Gino, but after everyone gives their picks, I'm going to do my same thing where I go over the entire MLB slate and give you all my leans, but it's good to have MidMajor Matt here because he is vying for the championship. And remember, this is the last day of the MLB regular season on stream. Mm-hmm. So if MidMajor Matt can make up 6 units, he's going to the World Series. So let's start Cleveland, Detroit, under 8.5. My boy Cal versus Joey Wentz, who's not an ideal pitcher.
Cal's been doing his job lately. I'm trusting him against the Tigers offense coming off a back-to-back. And Joey Wentz, while he's not a good pitcher, he's performed okay more of late. Just went 5 shutout against the same Cleveland lineup. And Cleveland lineup, that is just not good, Peter. They're dog shit against lefties. They're dog shit in general at the moment. They stopped carrying once the playoffs kind of left their rearview mirror. They just don't care anymore. And I like this Tigers pitching staff to just hold them to a low number of runs. And then I like Cal Quantrill to perform to the way that you hold him to on his standards.
Cal Quantrill does dominate the Tigers. I would give the A-OK to this game. Only
and it opened at 8, which catches my eye.
But it's up to 8.5?
Agreed. So I'm going against the market, sure, but you have a 5 ERA pitcher versus a 6 ERA pitcher.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's get into play number 2.
So the wrong team is favored. Oh yeah. So the Mariners. There's not much baseball reasoning behind it because Brian Wu just pitched against Nathan Eovaldi. I think it's the last game on the slate, Cohen. I think their last matchup 5, 6, 7 days ago or so, it was 9-8 and the Mariners lost. There's not much baseball reasoning to it because Wu did not do anything well against this lineup at all this year. But after last night, after throwing their best arms to clinch their playoff spot, the Rangers fucked it up.
Mid-major, we got some bangs from
Bang
the
it, baby.
Pikkit Squad. Welcome
There you go.
to the freaking show. Shout out Javon. Shout out Krabs.
Shout out Trent. Shout out all of them over at Book It.
Shout out all of them. Thank you guys for joining in. Right now, we're going over the MLB slate, and we're going to continue going over the NFL slate. We got a whole bunch of people coming on to give picks. Welcome to the freaking show. Great to have you guys, everybody. MidMajor Matt was just pitching the Mariners. While everybody just came in, you want to restart on the Mariners?
Yeah, so same matchup happened last week. It was 9-8 Texas to kind of get a comfortable lead on the playoff position. It's just one of those feelings. After last night, after the Rangers did everything they could to secure their playoff spot by just winning the game with 3 outs to go, Aroldis Chapman fucked it up. All the Mariners backers, it was so much elation in your hearts after J.P. Crawford hit that walk-off double. That's not easy to come back from if you're the Rangers, especially for the Rangers with a shit pitching staff. I know Wu did not look good, but their bullpen is phenomenal. The Rangers the exact opposite. If Eovaldi and Wu see trouble again, I absolutely trust this Mariners team to play with the passion they showed last night and they carried over today. And again, this is one of those weird things. The Rangers just swept the Mariners at home in Texas. Why won't the Mariners just sweep them now in Seattle? It's just one of those things.
I couldn't agree with you more. It was funny. We were talking on the Just Baseball show about this game, and I said, well, it makes all the sense of the world, right? Rangers got Nathan Eovaldi here, a little bit of a bounce back from last night. Brian Wu's numbers against the Rangers are terrible, 20.25 ERA. And then I was like, wait a minute, Aram. They're favorites. And he's like,
favorites.
It's a little bit telling here. I love the momentum they built last night. Yep. Like, that's a win that puts just some freaking nuts in the locker room.
That's a win that could propel you.
Game, exactly.
And a win that could deflate your entire season as the Rangers. So absolutely. I think that actually happens.
And then let's keep it moving because we got more
last MLB play. Keep going down. Angels. The wrong team is favored here tonight. Ken Waldichuk is going to throw a gem against the Los Angeles Angels today. The A's are going to kick the dicks off my Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim tonight. There's no other way to put it. Waldichuk has pitched a lot better than what people actually realize because the ERA is still skyrocketed. The Angels lineup is not good, guys. The A's lineup, they brought up all their young studs. They can hit fastballs, which is what Silseth wants to throw. And he hasn't pitched in quite some time, some heavy innings, so I don't know if he has control of the strike zone. If he doesn't, you know what's behind Chase Silseth? The worst bullpen in the MLB. The A's are winning by more than 2 today. And I'm betting on that plus 170.
You're amazing. Let's go to the NFL plays. 3 units. Because remember, for everybody in the bucket crowd who's coming in, we do a competition, and this is the last day of the MLB regular season. So, Producer Cohen, can you put up the leaderboard, show the people where Matt is, because he's only a couple of units behind Ollie, and if he overtakes him, because Ollie ain't here, he's winning 2 tickets to the World Series. We've been doing this all season long, and Producer Cohen, if you could also flash the NFL leaderboard.
No, don't do that. I don't want to see that one.
I'd like to see that because your boy is up top. Can I hear it? Krabs and Javon people coming in from the Book-It space. I mean, come on. Let's show a little respect here. I'm rolling right now, but you're only as good as your latest bet. That's
absolutely.
why I went over some of my NFL bets, and let's keep going with MidMajor Matt. Let's go through the his
NFL board. Yeah. What's the first play you got up there for me, Cohen? I gotta go fast. I'm sorry, Peter.
No, you're good.
Tampa Bay. I think you're absolutely off for Tampa Bay. I think you're completely wrong. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to insult you. They played the Vikings defense, which is awful. They played the Bears defense, which is historically awful week 1 and 2.
What are you saying? I'm wrong. What did I say about the Buccaneers? I would say I kind of lean the Buccaneers. I want to take them, but I don't want to.
Dude, you're wrong. They're a bad team. You're
What are you
wrong.
talking about? I agree with you, you moron.
I'm referring to your Monday. I'm referring to your Monday conversation because you try to be fucking sharp and take 6 points as a home dog. I gotta move on. We gotta move forward. I didn't got no time. The Buccaneers fucking suck, Peter. That offensive line is bad. They're not going to score 3 touchdowns, and they're not going to get above 17.5 points. The Saints defense, it's what's telling me is they laid a -3 with the unsureness of a Derek Carr, and they went to 3.5 without that information being released yet to the public. So that tells me that the books, the respected money, respects the Saints and Jameis Winston in that defense, and I do as well. I do not see how the Bucs get more than 17 points after they recorded 6 points in 45 minutes of play against the Eagles, and they got a garbage time touchdown to make it look respectable, which it still wasn't. The game was never close. They're not a good football team. They're not a good offense.
I might spite bet that now after you're saying that I'm wrong. Like, congratulations.
It's a fucking donation just because you're sensitive, so it's a donation, so it's fine.
Did you take the Eagles -6 or did you not bet that?
I took the Buccaneers total team under, and it hit. Okay. I'm doing it again.
Go to your second play.
Second play. What is that? Pittsburgh, Houston. Man, I really want to take Houston, but it seems like one of those super fucking sharp spots when everyone tries to take a home dog in Houston after a primetime favorite win in Steelers.
Is everyone taking that?
No, I mean, people who think similar to us, think similar in the short home dog against a letdown spot in the Steelers after winning on primetime in Sunday Night Football. That's more kind of what I'm looking at. The Texans obviously just blew out their division foes and the Jaguars on the road by 20. So what I see here, I just don't see how either team gets a lot of offense. Kenny Pickett is just not a good quarterback. I know he has these long bombs to George Pickens, but that running game is really fucking bad. And your bet on Najee Harris is phenomenal. It's looking phenomenal, Peter. So well done so far. But I do not think this is a good offense. The Texans don't have a great defense, but I think they're just good enough to keep it low scoring. And what's going to happen is they're going to keep the ball out of CJ Stroud's hands because he's the most passing quarterback this year without an interception, without turning the ball over. I like that. So to prevent that, to prevent all those weapons that the Texans have on offense, they're going to keep the game really slow paced. That's what I like that to happen here. And I think we see that +3 start to play. It's a real popular bet among sharps, quote unquote. So I went to the under instead.
No, I could definitely see it. I mean, I'm on the Texans +3. I love the Texans.
I like the +3
spot. But the reason I also lean towards this under with you got Bill Vinovich, one of the GOAT under referees. Under is hitting at over a 60% rate in his career as the crew chief. He's a guy who calls a lot of penalties. And the Steelers, in a normal flat spot for them, the only way they've been moving the ball because they can't run the ball is through the air. And even Kenny Pickett ranks in the bottom 5 in EPA per play. And the Texans have 2 really good quarterbacks. I think they're going to struggle to throw the ball.
The offensive line is going to have a lot of trouble. Agreed. But I don't know if they went out right. I like the 3, but I'd stick with the under.
Well, I'm taking the 3, and it's a better play. Let's get to your other play.
The over. Dude, the worst defense in the league, Peter, behind perhaps the second worst defense in the league. The Broncos fucking suck, Peter. Their defense is not good, but something that part of the offense, the team that is good, is surprisingly Russell Wilson. He's playing to an above-average standard in the NFL. It's just their defense is god-awful. We know after last week, everyone tried to get cute with the Bears +14, got their dicks kicked in again. I think they missed a week. Everyone's off of Justin Fields. But I'm jumping on him this week at home, being able to score points against a Bronco secondary that is just bad. It's just flat out bad.
Kepler just got fired. I'm probably next. Kepler, like the Gabe Kapler?
Gabe Kapler, the Giants? Before a game? Not before the last game of the season. That's weird. Or the last series of the season. I don't know. I gotta keep going, Peter. I'm sorry. This is my fault.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jets, this is the professional play you make 100% of the time. This line, everyone tried to get cute with the Jets last week against yourself. You got cute with the Jets last week. You got embarrassed on your ticket against Bill Belichick at home, getting the 3 points.
What are you talking about? You're just making up fucking plays that I didn't take. I didn't take the Jets.
You were arguing for the Jets all week. I gotta move. I'm sorry. I thought you took the fucking Jets against Bill Belichick.
Why don't you just give your pitch instead of chirping me for plays I didn't even make?
Everyone tried to get cute with the Jets last week at home against Bill Belichick. They look stupid because Zach Wilson's terrible. I'm betting on Zach Wilson this week. I said I wouldn't, but this feels like a spot when everyone's parlaying the Chiefs, everyone's teasing the Chiefs down, and the Jets just cover. They just find a way. The defense doesn't look great, and I just feel like they find a way to cover against the Chiefs. It's what they do in primetime. These big ass home favorites just do not find a way to cover two scores. And it's the Jets. Zach Wilson finds a way.
Well, the real professional bet was the under 43, which I took, that is now down to 41 and
Is
a
it
half.
That's a great fucking bet. That's a good WCLV, but the Jets are scoring 50, so that'll play.
I mean,
Brian Robinson, this is a hill we talk about dying on. I'm going to lose my house if Brian Robinson continues to perform above expectation. Yeah. I'm just going to. I'm going to keep betting his under because I have seen him run. For some reason, he gets 10 touches a game down by 20 and records 100 yards rushing. I don't think he's a good running back. I don't see him getting more than 25 yards against this Eagles defensive line. They should game script out of him because they're going to be down by 2 scores early. He shouldn't be in the game often later, and he's just not going to get 50 yards. I don't see how he gets it against Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. They're going to eat him alive.
It's more than fair. The Puka Nacua one is definitely interesting. And Mike Evans.
Yeah, we talked about it with I'll go Puka Nacua first. I got to go fast. Sorry, Peter. Stafford, I love him. I know DJen loves their offense against the Colts this week. I do as well. The passing defense of the Colts, they play a lot of zone. Nacua is going to eat up the zone all day long. Stafford's going to throw 50 times because McVay is just too smart to try to run the ball against this Colts defense. He's going to see a ton of work, and this is the last game before Cooper actually just got activated off the IR. This is his last game to show out, and I think he absolutely deals, or he puts up a great performance against this Colts defense.
Well, MidMajor, we got all your plays done, and I'm glad that you spent half of it telling me that you have to go quicker, and then the other half chirping plays.
Last play, Mike Evans under. Marshawn Lattimore owns Mike Evans. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
It's just something you bet.
If you just analyze the games instead of chirping me for plays I didn't make, and yeah, get out of here. Good. Get out of here. All right, let's welcome on DeGen, who hopefully won't make fun of me for things that didn't even happen. DeGen, how are you?
What do you mean things that didn't even happen?
No, MidMajor Matt kept starting his pitch with chirping me for playing the wrong side last week. Like he was like, "You and every other idiot was on the Jets." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" No, I wasn't. And then he was talking about the Bucs, and I was like, "What?"
No, but if you want, I'll give you a very soft, friendly chirp. Are you just gonna blind? I heard you just touting your CLV on your primetime under. Every primetime under is gonna have CLV if you get it on Monday. Everyone.
No, I was more just making fun of Matt. I didn't care about the CLV. Like CLV.
But you're on the under?
I did bet the under 43 on Tuesday. That was the first bet I made.
So are you just always taking primetime unders?
No.
All right, because I have a theory.
If I like them, I'm taking them. Like I would really have to not like it. Like, for example, I didn't take the under in that Minnesota Vikings versus Eagles Thursday night football game. But at the same time, like I didn't take it. Like if I lean the over, I just don't take it. I actually liked the under yesterday, and I like the under again on Sunday Night Football. And the reason why I like the under so much, the Chiefs defense is damn good. Yeah. Like they are a top 10 defense right now by EPA per play. So if I'm looking at that and I'm looking at Zach Wilson, like I kind of want to fade him in every way I can until the Jets get a new quarterback. And I also think that, well, the Jets defense is not as good as, it was said to be at the beginning of the season. But at the same time, I don't see the Chiefs putting up like 35 points against it. I think this was one of those games that ends 24-13. Like one of those games.
I kind of feel
something like that, just
game,
super low, super boring. And I think, though, it will be one of those games where the public comes in on the over because it's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, but it's
under prime time with Mahomes.
I don't think that's going to happen, to be honest. And my theory was I didn't know if it was like a FOMO bet for you, which is all in good reason because it's a profitable bet. So I don't know if you were like, I want to take it as like a safety valve because I've profited off of it so much. It's going to suck if it hits and I don't take it.
No. For me, I genuinely look at each primetime under differently, and like I
Okay.
love this one. Yeah,
I mean, I like it too. My only concern is Mahomes' eagerness to maybe show out on prime time.
it's gonna be
And
hard against the Jets defense. I mean, it's still a fine defense.
for sure, 1000% agree. I don't think Zach Wilson should be an NFL quarterback. This is probably his last chance. So, I mean, he's going to have to do something. But anyways, I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about my plays. What do I have? Like a few minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
Yeah, you got producer Cohen. If you could send me a private chat, you got 15 minutes.
Okay, cool. So I don't have to rush too much. I didn't want to be like Major Matt because I heard him. I heard you say he kept saying I got to talk faster.
No, yeah, he just kept saying I need more time, and I'm like, just shut up and talk about your plays.
Okay, Texans +3. Maybe some people in your chat also follow me. If they do, they're probably familiar why I'm already on this play. I call it a Matt play, and my buddy Greg did a lot of research in the offseason when we were doing our team previews, and he mapped out like 5 or 6 spots that we put on our big board. It's really just bad scheduling spots, and it's not even so much about the team we're betting on; it's about the team we're fading. Last week was the first one, and we were fading the Ravens because they play 3 divisional opponents in 4 games, and that 4th game was the little old Colts with Gardner Minshew. So they went 9.5 down to 7.5, won the game outright. We got that. Well, the next one on our board is the Texans. I think the look ahead here was probably as high as 4.5, down to 3.5. It was at 3. I bought it to 3.5. It's 3 right now. I think it's even down to 2.5. Money's coming in on the Texans. And what we're doing here is we're fading the Steelers because they've started out the season. The first 2 games were brutal. Niners, Browns. Granted, they were at home, but those are probably the number 1, number 2 defenses in the NFL. 1-1. Then they go on the road and they play Vegas, a much easier defense. But now they go back on the road to Houston, and this is the week before they play the Baltimore Ravens in a divisional game at home. So it's just kind of one of those weird spots where a team can sometimes overlook their opponent. Now, a lot of things changed because the Texans did just beat the Jags as a huge underdog last week. So a lot of people did ask me on Twitter, does this change your stance? Does this change your play? Because now the Texans might not be overlooked. It's a concern in a way, but also no, I'm going to keep riding it until I have a reason not to. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to disagree that now the Texans are on teams' radar, right? They don't want to slip up against them. And we'll get to that a little bit more with the Cardinals too, because I have the Niners. But I also like it for reasons, football reasons. I think I think Kenny Pickett and the offense should have some success against the Texans. And then if you look at the Texans, their offensive line is pretty banged up. And TJ Watt him and Myles Garrett are just out of this world, like potential MVP candidates if you really want to dissect it. He's probably going to be on the move and running for his life, no doubt about it. But he is a mobile quarterback. And I think that he can still find some success because I think these Texans receivers are fucking dogs. Nico Collins, Tank Dell. I love having a veteran in there like Robert Woods. I don't know what's up with Dameon Pierce this year, but I really wanted this to be the Dameon Pierce game because the Steelers' run defense is not very good. And MidMajor Matt actually loved Josh Jacobs against the Steelers, and it didn't happen. But I think that was more to do with maybe about the Raiders falling behind in that game, having to abandon the run. Yeah, because I think the opportunities were. I do too, 1,000%. The Steelers' defense is not really that good top to bottom. I mean, they have a great pass rush, but their secondary is definitely something that I think, I'm not crowning CJ Stroud by any means, but he's probably the best rookie quarterback in this class as of right now. We'll see when Anthony Richardson plays a little bit more, but he's got great numbers. He hasn't thrown a pick yet. He's making good decisions. Even when they got their ass kicked against the Colts, he put up 300 yards and I think they were probably down 3 touchdowns. Like he at least wasn't pathetic on the stat sheet. But anyways, I think that the Texans are going to score some points. I know Javon likes this over. I agree. But because of the scheduling spot, we're going to go ahead and go with the Texans with the field goal.
Couldn't agree with him more. Texans is one of my 3 favorite plays of.
Oh, NFL good. You're on it too?
Yeah, I love the Texans in the spot. So what I will say is 2. Well, 1, how much do you think they look ahead to Baltimore when half their team is on the IR? I don't think that they're thinking about that right now. They have an important division game against the Ravens. And what I will say is last week, I think you were on this one too, the Colts against the Baltimore Ravens, right?
That was Matt play number 1, yeah.
Exactly. It was a big look ahead spot.
Yep.
People call them sandwich spots.
That's what I think I just said that.
Yeah. That's just
You
generally what
listening
it's
to
called.
me?
Not really.
Okay.
And in those spots, like the Colts, they just won that game before they faced the Ravens. I'm pretty sure.
They did.
If I'm
They
not mistaken.
beat the hell out of the Texans. Yes.
Yeah, so they beat the hell out of the Texans too. So if we're saying, well, the Texans just won, so are they on people's radar? I don't know. The Colts were on people's radar after that win, and
Good
then
point.
they went on to beat the Ravens. I think it's just generally a bad spot. Also, this is a stat from Action Network. The Steelers. So, like, there's one thing when it's a good sandwich spot, and it's another thing to fade the Steelers. So we all know that Tomlin, as a home dog, as a road dog, he's awesome against the spread. He gets his guys riled up for matchups like that.
Mm-hmm.
As a road favorite, he's under 50% against the spread in his tenure with the Steelers. But when you go even further, when he is a road favorite against a team with a losing record, 9-22 against the spread.
Wow. That's
He's
pretty
terrible in these spots because he's a big motivator. And what is he going to say? Get ready for the Texans. Like, they just normally come out flat here. And the one reason I'm a little bit concerned is about the Texans offensive line issues. Like, TJ Watt is going to get his. I don't think the Texans win this game by 30, but that's really the only concern I have because I have the better quarterback and I have a good enough defense that can work against Kenny Pickett's weaknesses.
Right.
But we got more plays of yours. Let's talk about 49ers while I grab a Zen.
Are you a Zen guy?
Oh, huge.
Oh, wow. I would have never guessed that.
Really?
Yeah.
I look healthy.
Yes, you look like you just chew on raw carrots and drink celery juice, which is also not a bad thing. I'm starting to come around to the juice game. All right. Yeah, the Niners minus 14. It's not my favorite play of the week. We'll get to that, but it's my second favorite play of the week. I mean, I don't know if it's as much to do with how much I love the Niners in this spot or how much I really just think this is a terrible spot for the Cardinals. And for all the right reasons, because I kind of think the Cardinals were this team that, you know, they cut Colt McCoy. Everybody knows what they want to do, right? They want to tank Caleb Williams, but now we're hearing Caleb Williams doesn't even want to go there. But I'm not saying that changes anything. They're not necessarily trying to make the playoffs. But the beginning of the season, when you're 0-0 record, and you've got this goofy dude, Jonathan Gannon, saying he wants killers and boom, 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 you know, with Rondale Moore. I mean, they were definitely not on anybody's radar. But I got to give him a lot of credit. I mean, these dudes are coming out and they want to make a statement. And I think it's just, hey, you should at least respect us. We're not complete trash. We're professionals. And they could be, I mean, they're 3-0 ATS. They could be 3-0 straight up, honestly. Almost beat the Commanders on the road in week 1. Everybody remembers they were up 28-7 on the Giants before they came back in. But I think something about that game against the Cowboys, like they kind of took it personal. And I'm not saying there's like this Southwest rivalry. I don't know. Maybe anybody that lives in the area, maybe there is, you know, like Phoenix and Dallas. But I think that the Cardinals, when they got that lead, which is something they've been doing in every game, I think they could kind of sense that something was off with the Cowboys. And maybe it was because Trayvon Diggs was out like midweek and that kind of fucked up their psyche and maybe their game plan. But something tells me like they wanted to get that win against that big name opponent. So at least they've earned the league's respect and the fans' respect. I think that happened. I think they're fat and happy. And I think they honestly, I'm not going to say they don't care about this game, but I think that they are nowhere near as motivated, nor are they just, in my opinion, is it realistically possible for them to perform as well as they did against the Cowboys, against the 49ers. I mean, I think, and the 49ers are in just a great spot themselves. They were at home on a primetime game on a Thursday night. They've got extra rest. And now they can't overlook the Cardinals because they're not going to be the team that loses to the Cardinals. I think this offense is going to do whatever they want. I think it's really telling. The total from what I saw moved up 42 to 44.5. And the odds on the Niners to be the highest scoring team also moved up on FanDuel. And that always makes me favor the favorite. I think the Niners are going to score at will. And I actually, earlier in the week, I took the Cardinals to be the lowest scoring team, plus 650. They were the odds on favorite. I'm a little nervous about a couple other teams, but I don't see the Cardinals scoring more than a touchdown against this Niners defense. So I don't know what to do with the total. I just am going to lay it the 14 with the Niners.
So funny. Gino, the 49ers fan, is on the Cardinals plus the 14.
Fade the fucking fan, baby. It's one of my favorite things to do. I love that. If he was all, feeling good about his Niners, that would concern me then.
I agree with you. One thing, actually, maybe we'll talk about it when Krabs or someone else is pitching 49ers minus 14 because we got to get through the rest of your plays. So let's just get through to play number 2. I just want to let you know I lean the 49ers for a system that I'll talk about in a little bit.
Okay, I'll be quick. So, this is my tune to play. This is my favorite play. And I got to tell you, I really like the Rams just about as much as I like this over. And my, I don't even have a great sell job. To be honest with you, I know you're a Rams fan. I think it really comes down to this. Like the Rams are 1-2. They're not in a great scheduling spot. I mean, it's been brutal. Week 1 in Seattle, back home against the Niners, then to Cincinnati, back home, then out to play Indianapolis. It's not great. So by any means, the scheduling, as we talked about, it's important, and the handicapping. This goes against this play entirely. But
it doesn't really, because I think that would hurt the defense more than it would hurt the offense. So if you're taking an over instead of taking the Rams, I think it's a good spot because the Rams defense has been overperforming. So I actually think for the schedule, taking the over here is the best play if you're concerned about that, because the Rams defense is not as good as they showed on Monday Night Football where that game flew under.
Great. Excellent point. That's the first time I've heard it. Excellent point. Makes me feel even better. But my reason for this is I think it's a Matthew Stafford masterclass. And I think
over the best quarterback in the NFL.
I don't know about all that, but I think he's going to have a field day in a dome on turf with these receivers. And they got Cooper Kupp coming back in a week. I think that's going to be a huge spark of energy. Do you think, let me ask you this.
Do I think we're going to win the Super Bowl? Yeah, I do. I feel that.
My time is ticking. Do you think the Rams with Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford, do you think they are doing this, playing quarterback and still coaching, because they want to go 1-3 and be irrelevant?
No. That's why I almost bet on, but I felt so biased. I was like, I'm going to put 5 units on the Rams over 6.5, and that actually looks like a good bet now, but I overthought it because I was like, am I being too biased? But I was like, this team is not as bad as everybody's saying. People were telling me they were going to get the number 1 overall pick, and I'm like, we still have a top 10 head coach. We still have a top 10 quarterback. What are you talking about? And we have Aaron Donald.
Goes a long way. I agree. The roster on defense outside of Aaron Donald is dreadful. And you're right. They have been
young and exciting. It's kind of like the Seahawks defense last year, where it's like they got a lot of guys from the draft and nobody kind of knows them, and they're playing with nothing to lose, and they're just flying through gaps, and they look good-ish, but not
their offensive line
like people thought they were going to be.
Yeah, and their offensive line sucks. So long-term, season-wise, maybe we'll touch on that later. Maybe you dodge the bullet.
Super Bowl.
As of right now, I think your Rams are going to be 2-2 come Monday, and I think Matthew Stafford's going to put on a masterclass. I'm going to take his over touchdown passes, but I do think I don't care who's playing, if it's Gardner Minshew or Anthony Richardson. I do think the Colts are going to score. I respect Shane Steichen's offense, and I don't respect the Rams defense. So over was 45.5. I think it's up to 46, and that's it. 2 to play for me.
Good shit. Your favorite place should be the Texans, though, because that shit's hitting, because I'm on it, and I'm biased.
All right. I love it. Good stuff, Peter. Thanks.
Peace out to Jed.
Take care.
Are you telling me that we got the Crabsinator in queue coming on with legit – you got 58 plays that you're pitching?
Yeah, I got about 72 plays today, folks. I got some catching up to do already. Turns out it's not just MLB plays I give cake on here.
First of all, I want to thank you for rating. You're a beast for that. Appreciate the support.
W's.
And I'm trying to support these NFL plays right now, so let's not waste anybody's time. Just get straight in.
We got to go tempo and pace, 100%.
Well, you have more time because if you have to go, but we don't have anybody. Producer Cohen, correct me if I'm wrong. Next person coming on is at 6, so you actually have 20 minutes if you need it.
Okay.
Up to you.
W's. Let's get to work. Let's start with the Manders. Sure. We'll start with my team. I'm about it. Guys, 550, the Manders.
550 is Ollie. Never mind. We gotta run through it.
Okay. Tempo and pace. Manders plus 8.5 here, folks. Now they're a plus 9. I freaking bet they are, but right now we got plus 8.5. It's not gonna matter. Guys. Look, I'm buying low after what we saw last week. Maybe the worst performance from a QB all season, although Jordan Love did his best attempt at that last night. But 4 picks from Sam Howell. 2 of them were some of the worst throws I've ever seen. But guys, the Manders play great in Philly. At least they have over the last 5 years. I don't know what it is. And I'm also not sold on the Eagles team right now. I know they're undefeated. Gosh, anybody could be undefeated in the freaking NFC at this point. The Eagles are not the dominant team they were last season, at least not yet. So I'm not buying in on the Eagles right now. I know the Manders always play well on the road in Philly. That's way too many points. It's an overreaction to Philly being in the Super Bowl last year and the Manders looking like moose last week. Okay, and they did. Don't get me wrong. But if you think that defense is going to drop a dud like that 2 weeks in a row, there is zero chance. Del Rio's going to have them locked in. If anything, our defense is going to look sharper than the Eagles, who are missing a ton of guys in their secondary, a couple linebackers as well. If we want to win and cover this game, it's going to have to be Sam Howell. And I know that's scary. And everyone in chat's going to be like, oh, this is the worst play ever. But you know what? Sam Howell has also won us games this season too. And that was his first loss of his NFL career. I'm willing to bet that was a little bit of an overreaction with how bad he really is. And I think he's going to be able to take advantage of some of these injuries in the secondary for the Eagles and maybe not win this game, but sure as heck keep an NFC East divisional game with that low of a total and the total moving down within 8.5 points. Are you kidding me? Guys, stay off the Eagles for survivor picks. The Manders are a live dog.
You want my honest reaction?
You're a little biased. You hate them. You're rooting against them every week. You got their win total under. I don't blame you.
No, I agree with you. I just think this is, but the reason I stayed off this game because I lean the Eagles. I thought they would win by 30, but the Commanders do play really well in Philly. It kind of doesn't make any sense. It's one of those classic, Aaron Rodgers is talking on the Pat McAfee show how any team can win, right? Cowboys beat the living piss out of the Giants. Giants beat the Cardinals, and then the Cardinals beat the Cowboys. It's kind of one of those games where they just play well in this spot. However, I think they're a dog shit team. But at the same time, you could be a dog shit team and lose by 7, right? He's not taking the Commanders outright. He's a little bit biased saying they're a live dog. There's no fucking way they're a live dog. But I could see them covering here. Let's get to play number 2.
We'll see. Yep. Let's keep moving and grooving, folks. What do we got? The Bills. Sure.
Love this one.
You guys saw W's. Music to my ears, Pete. Look, guys, the Dolphins put up 70 points last week. You got to fade them the next week. It's a system play. Teams that do that are 1-6 ATS the next week.
I don't even give a shit about that. The Bills are just better. Even if they only put up 30, I would still be fading them. And if they only put up 30, this line would probably be 3.5. The Bills have a better defense. They're second in EPA per play to the Browns. And then on offense, they're third in EPA. The Dolphins have the best offense in the NFL. You don't have to tell me. But Tua, I'm taking away your pitch. But what I'm saying is that the Dolphins rank 16th in EPA per play. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm fired up about
it. No, I mean, we're on the same page here. We're on the same team. The Bills are going to win this game huge. No need for the ML. Take the spread. Whatever number you get, doesn't matter. They're going to win this game by 10 plus. Guys, the Bills are the best team in football. It might be the Niners right now. That's the easy answer. But what I saw last week, complete game from the Bills, they are the best team in football. And I'm still sticking by my preseason take here that they're going to win the Super Bowl. And they're going to break the Madden curse. Bills all day. Got to fade the Dolphins after that legacy week. It's a huge letdown spot. And they got to go to Buffalo. Buffalo owns them. They beat them 9 in the last 10 years. They're going to make it 10 out of 11. Bills roll.
Perfect. And then we got Javon coming on next. We got Ollie coming on, trying to keep the title of the best MLB better. And we got Krabs. What a day to be alive. Titans plus 2.5. I'm a little bit nervous about this play, but I know it's the sharp side.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel great. I'd be lying if I said, it feels awesome back in the Titans this week, but it's a must play. I'm a big Vrabel guy. He'll have them locked in this week, playing much better even after a blowout. And I love backing the Titans after a blowout, man. It's a system I've been doing for the last couple of years. And what have you been hearing the most, at least some of the most, this week so far on gambling Twitter? The Bengals aren't going to start 1-3. No way Joe Burrow starts 1-3.
No
Are you
way.
kidding me? The way they played in the second half last week and got that win and clutched up, no way they lose and go 1-3 to the Titans. Derrick Henry's washed. That's a narrative you're hearing out there right now. He's going to prove to you guys he ain't washed yet.
Or Spears can run the ball too.
Sure. Spears is quick. I like Spears. I got no qualms with him. They're going to run the ball down the Bengals' throats, and they're going to cover this game and probably even win. My favorite spread to bet in football, plus 2.5 for the home team. We got one here with an organization that I love backing after getting blown out. Vrabel will have them locked in. Tannehill will look much better. The Titans are going to cover and probably win this game.
Vrabel as a dog is not only crazy against the spread, but is over 50% straight up. I think he's 22-21 straight up as a dog. And he's at home off a blowout. This is the spot you want to take him. The only problem I have with taking the Titans this week, even though I lean them, it almost made my card. if Burrow can throw the ball, they're going to win. But I just don't know if he can right now because he's been so banged up. But if he
Sam
can,
Howell could throw the
Titans
ball,
win the
the
game.
Commanders can win. If Jordan Love threw the ball last night better, they would win. I mean, come on.
It's a good point.
And it's not too late. You can still add them back to the car. But let's keep moving and grooving here. What do we got
Keep
next?
moving and grooving. Browns money line.
Let's go Browns ML. Sure. Yes. People in BTL chat today trying to tell me that Deshaun's not playing. Well, I'm hearing different things. I'm actually hearing that he might have said that he's going to play himself. Either way, I don't think he's going to be out this week. I know he's not practicing. I don't care. Did you watch him play last week? Did you watch that game, or at least Red Zone?
He was good. He was good.
That was MVP Deshaun Watson. His reads, his throws. He was so fucking locked in, Pete.
I think
What's
it's too
going to be
much.
different this week?
I think it's too much meat on tape for the meat on tape king. He looked good. He did not look like MVP Deshaun Watson. I still understand taking the Browns. I don't think he looked like the MVP. Like he had such a cakewalk matchup against that Titans pass defense, and he like played pretty well. Any like MVP level quarterback like a Justin Herbert is throwing for 350.
All I'm saying, he might not have put up 350, 400 in that game, but he's on the Browns, Pete. He's not on the Chargers. Okay. Every throw he made was the right throw, the right read, and a dart right in the hands. And he was mobile, and he was running, and he was not sitting in the pocket. It was a beautiful game. The best Deshaun Watson game in a Browns uni, right after the media scolding him, trying to get him out of there. I hate to say it because he's a scumbag, but he's going to light up the scoreboard once again this week, and the Browns win.
It's good to play number 5, I think.
Yeah, who knows? I lost count. Let's keep rolling. The Bears.
What are we doing? This is what you're going to do on Sunday. You're going to have to be locked into this game. Like, it's funny, though. I'm on Johnson, the running back for the Bears, his over rushing yards. I love him this week. So I'm going to be watching a prop. But no way I could bet on one of the teams, even though I know this is the right spot. But come on. Don't you value your mental health?
I value my mental health, but if you look at my plays and you know how I bet, you know that I throw that out the window and that it's secondary. Winners come first. It is what it is. Hate to say it, but mental health comes second. Winners come first, Chad. It is what it is. You guys know I'm dedicated. I'm going to take the Bears this week. I don't give a shit. The nastier the play, the more hair I lose when I lock it in, the better it is. And this is a bald play. This is one that's going to make you lose the whole head. Give me the Bears on the spread at home. Guys, let's not act like the freaking Broncos are good. And I know they just got smacked. And it's not ideal in this spot to back a shitty team like the Bears against the Broncos, who also just got obliterated and embarrassed. But I'll take the points in the toilet bowl. I think it's going to be a field goal game either way. And I still believe in Justin Fields. And I don't like what Sean Payton's building out there. And I know that team does not like Russell Wilson. All the stuff we've heard come out over the last 2 or 3 years, it's pretty clear that these guys know that he's a fake. And they really have not meshed at all. And I know Russ hasn't really been the main problem. It's been the defense. But if that defense can't come through, Russ does not have enough juice left in the tank to win these games himself. I like the Bears this weekend. Maybe the nastiest play on the board. It is what it is, but that's how I know it's hitting.
No, I lean it with you. If you give me a field goal and the hook, 2 crap teams, let's see the Broncos win this game by like 7. Like, no.
Come on.
I lean the Bears with you. I value my mental health. Texans love this play.
Texans.
Love this Texans.
How about CJ Stroud?
How about this? Look at him being better than Kenny Pickett. How about that?
Yeah, right now they are. I'm not saying I would probably rather. I'd rather have CJ Stroud on my team than Kenny Pickett.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to say that. I mean, I was the one that was saying before the season started that CJ Stroud was going to be the best rookie QB, and people looked at me like I had no arms and legs, like I was a freak, straight up. I'm like, guys, did you watch this kid play in the semifinals of the college football playoffs last year? He almost beat Georgia himself. And he's doing that shit every week so far in the NFL. He's got great receivers, Nico. God, what the hell is his name? Tank Davis. Tank Davis, absolute beast. Or Tank Dell, right? Tank Dell. I'm tripping. This kid's a beast. I just paid $55 on Fab to get this kid on my team because he's electric. He stretches the field. They've got a bunch of other weapons as well, but it's mainly just Stroud. That's the guy that I'm backing here. He looks great. And I'll tell you what, I don't mind fading Pitt either. Coming off of some good wins. They're 2-1, maybe the most fraudulent 2-1 team in the NFL right now. And I will surely fade that team after that fluky win they got against the Raiders last week. Give me the Texans, give me the points at home. Still underrated and undervalued by the books. That offense looks great.
Good shit. Love this play. And it's a sandwich spot. Bad scheduling spot for the Steelers. Jaguars money line. You're laying the juice here.
And by the way, Tank Davis, he's the boxer from Baltimore. That's on there. Tank Dell was who I meant to say. Tank Davis also a beast though.
Tank
Jaguars.
Tank Bigsby on the Jaguars.
He's also on the Jaguars, but he kind of stinks. I don't really like him.
Yeah, he's not that good.
I drafted him. He didn't do anything. I
A
dropped
guy
him.
named Tank, though.
Too many tanks.
Too many tanks.
Jaguars, guys, wake up. Rip whatever you're gonna rip. Get your breakfast in your belly. Turn on the TV at 9:30 because this one is gonna be a blowout. Free, easy. You're not gonna have to stress
Why
about
don't you
it.
take the spread then? What are we doing taking the money line?
Yeah, well, I'm just gassing it up. I still want to take the ML here. Okay, it's the Falcons. They've actually looked pretty good so far this season, Pete. Don't get me wrong. But the Jags playing in a very comfortable territory here overseas. They've done it so much. I'm backing them to win this game on the ML. The only reason I'm really taking the ML is because that spread is kind of sketchily creeping back. But it's because the Falcons are public. And I'm not surprised. Everyone's hopping on the Falcons train. But what I don't understand is, have people seen Desmond Ridder play football?
He's terrible.
He's terrible.
Terrible.
Terrible. And like I said in the beginning of the season, that Taylor Heineke should be leading that team, and he would be plenty good enough with the running backs and weapons they have and the much better defense they have to at least keep that team more competitive and actually throw the football instead of standing back there like he's a Statue of Liberty in the pocket. This guy stinks. So this is a fade on him mainly, Desmond Ridder and the public Falcons, who I am impressed by this year. But I got to go with the Jags. The tale is old as time. Them get another win overseas. They haven't lost yet. And typically I don't like backing those trends. But in this spot, after the Jags just got embarrassed 2 weeks in a row, I mean, Pete, that loss last week is unacceptable. As a big favorite like that at home, they bounce back now in their second home overseas where they play over all the time, every year.
So, and just so you know, too, we're still waiting on Javon, who's going to come on next. And then we got Ollie, who's still on a work call. So you got a little bit more time so we could dive a little bit deeper. What I will say is,
chat when you guys want me to wrap it up, I got to pull it up. You're good.
You're good. So
right.
What I will say is I'm going to tell you when I love a play, and I've loved a few yours so far. I'm going to tell you when I don't like one. The reason I don't like this play is so far the Falcons, they've been okay, but in terms of offensive EPA per play, in terms of defensive EPA per play, the Falcons have been better on both sides of the ball. Now, I like taking the favorite in London. Those trends, they back it up. Take the favorite. Jaguars, this is almost a home game for them. They're basically the London Jaguars because they're always in London. My issue is here, I think they will be the public side. And I also don't love laying the juice. The way I would play this game is I'm either taking the Falcons on the money line because I think that's where the value is, or I'm taking the Jaguars on the spread because either they're going to cover that and the trend is going to keep its name, or the Jaguars don't figure it out, right? Like the Jaguars sometimes go through spells exactly like they did last year. They start off really slow. And then remember, they kicked it up a notch when the Titans basically fell off a cliff. So I would either, that's why I don't like laying the juice here. Like, I don't think it's worth it. I would either take the Jaguars minus the 3, which I think is fine, or I would take the Falcons money line. I don't think it's going to be a 1 or 2 point win. I just think this play is too expensive. That's why I wouldn't play the money line. But if you like the Jaguars, take the 3.
I think that was a very good counter. 100%. I still think the Jags are winning this game, and I'm not overthinking it. I'm dropping the 2U bomb on the ML. The Jags have not played well enough to earn a -3 bet for me. I'm just taking the money line and going about my bet.
I think it's fair.
You're right.
You and about 9 other people on the planet are taking the Jets in prime time, and it's not often that the Chiefs cover 10 in prime time with 95% of the public on them.
What? You're telling me people have come on this stream and pitched the Jets?
MidMajor Matt did.
Okay, well, he knows what he's doing, but that's still scary. What are we doing, people? I'm seeing 9% of bets, 12% of handle right now on Visson on the Jets. I'm seeing 4% of bets on the Jets ML.
That's why I said you would. No, I said you and 9 other people in the totality of America. You and MidMajor and then 7 others.
Okay, we're chilling.
Yeah,
let's go. Clap it up, folks. Yeah,
no,
we're good. Give me the
Jets.
Jets. Perfect. Yeah, right where we want to be. Me, not MidMajor Matt, and that might be it. Just us two. The Jets. Look, a lot of trash talk coming from not only the Chiefs about Zach Wilson, but a lot of trash talk coming from inside the house with the Jets. Apparently not big Zach Wilson guys. Not surprising. And apparently Coach Salah might be losing the clubhouse a little bit here with, the long leash he keeps giving Zach Wilson. I'll tell you what, if Zach Wilson doesn't cover this spread, he will never play in the NFL again. And I'm willing to bet on that kid to spend every single second from the past game to this coming game figuring out how to not suck ass. He doesn't have to figure out how to be good, Pete. He just has to figure out how to not suck ass. And against the Chiefs defense that I'm not, extremely scared of. I know they're average. I know they're okay. Chris Jones is a beast. But in New York here, with that defense, the Jets defense that really has dropped the ball the last couple weeks, I feel like, since Aaron Rodgers got hurt, they still have some dogs on that team. And I'll tell you what, in prime time under the lights, that defense is going to show up against the Chiefs coming into town because, that's the best comp you can play against. You're telling me they're not going to get up for that? The last 2 weeks, you might not have seen the best effort, the best work from the Jets. Really not a good performance on both sides of the ball. But if you can't get up for the freaking Chiefs and Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift coming into town, they don't belong in the league. Give me the points. Give me the Jets. Give me Zach Wilson. I trust him enough to cover this game. And if he doesn't, smell you later. He's out here.
I hate the Taylor Swift talk. What I will say is I took the under 43 on Tuesday. It was the first bet I ever made. I saw it up and I'm like, yep, Jets ain't scoring 10. But the Chiefs might have a tough time with the Jets defense. Personally, when I saw that this was like 9.5 earlier and you saw some money come down, right? And folks, if you think this is such a crap play, Krabs, we say it all the time. If you liked it at 9.5, we got a better price for you at 8.5. But the reason I say that is because someone moved this line down, even though so many bets are coming in on the Chiefs. I kind of think the more I think about this game, we got a 20-13 win by the Chiefs. They're not going to lose, but I think the Jets defense keeps them involved here. That's why I love the under 43. It's down to 41.5. I think that this game should not be above 40. I think this is a super low scoring game, but I think come game time, people will pile in on the over because it's Patrick Mahomes. You're going to bet on a low 40s total on the under with Mahomes in it? I don't think so.
Let me play my quick devil's advocate before I hop out of here because I think that was my last play. But yeah, you know what? You mentioned it, Pete. That total is a little high. And I know it's come down 2 points. But if you look at this game on paper, the Chiefs defense, like people were correcting me in chat, acting like they're literally the Bills defense, which guys pipe down and relax, take a breath. They're not. They're actually probably like the 10th ranked defense in football this season. They've been a little bit above average. I'll give it to them.
I don't think people know that. That's the thing. That's why I think these primetime unders, that's why they're 11-3 this year. And whenever I take a primetime under, I keep hearing, oh, it seems a little high. I might like the over. And sometimes I've been wrong, but more often I've been right. They're inflated. You see Patrick Mahomes in primetime with a low 40s total, there's a lot of casual bettors out there who will take the over regardless. It's Mahomes.
Pete, I saw 50s
in total. Up. Sorry?
I saw this open up around 50 last week.
No. It opened at 45.
Last week? The look ahead line though at 50?
Yeah. 45.
Are you sure?
Positive. That's what I did when I saw the capping. Yeah.
Okay. 45.
Well, I bet the look-ahead line was 50 with Rodgers.
Okay. Before the season?
Yeah, that's what makes sense. I never saw 50, but if it was that high, I assume it was because this was projected to be Rodgers versus Mahomes. And
okay. Either way, that total opened up at 45 with Zach Wilson playing QB against the elite Chiefs defense, like everyone in the chat saying. That's a little high to me, and that scares me a little bit. I'm not taking the over at all. But I will say that opener probably opened up a touch high, but it's come back down to earth, so you're probably okay right now, and you got a good number, so you're chilling. But weird opener a little bit. I thought it was a spec high.
Strange opener, but I never think it's strange. It's kind of like, when we talk about overs with Patrick Corbin, sometimes they're weird, and I'm like, it's Patrick Corbin, guys. People are going to bet the over. It's Mahomes and Kelce, and look at all the buzz they're getting. People are
probably
going to bet the over.
They're probably worth a point or two on the total, being higher than it should be themselves at least. So yeah,
exactly.
I'm with you.
And then now that I bet it's going to close at 41. You're telling me in a Patrick Mahomes game, I know they'll say, well, Zach Wilson is at least going to put up 14 because people don't know how good the Chiefs defense is. People still remember all these high scoring games. Yeah. They don't realize how good that people will be like, well, the Chiefs played the Bears. Of course their defense is that good. And I kind of agree. I think their defense is good.
You find me somebody who's saying Zach Wilson scoring 14 points, and I'll give you $100.
I will find them. Don't worry.
Nobody.
I will find them. All right, Krabs. Appreciate it. We're bringing on Javad now.
Good luck this weekend. All right, peace.
We'll be talking. We got the milkman. I think crabs, but thank you for the raid, my friend. Appreciate the support.
Of course, always.
You want to do NFL first or you want to do MLB? Because this is the last day of the competition, Javon. And if you overtake Ollie, we're giving you tickets to the World Series.
There you go.
But if you do finish second, I got a $500 cash prize coming your way.
There we go. Well,
but you got to hold off MidMajor Matt.
Matt. Hoping that MidMajor doesn't come with the smoke, man.
Do you want to start MLB first? Or do you,
yeah,
I haven't seen your plays.
Yeah, MLB.
MLB? Let's A's money line.
Yeah, A's money line. And I think he's on this too, right? Because we brought it up. Brought it up in BTL. Yeah, in BTL chat, he brought it in, or I brought it up, and then he was splooging in the chat. But I think Waldachuk shoves in the spot. I mean, this is an Angels team that really against lefties has been for the most part dead. If you take out Randall Grichuk and Brandon Drury, which if they're going to be the only ones to beat me in this game, then I'll tip my cap and live with it. But I think he has a pretty good game today. And I think the bats wake up in a sleepy spot against Chase Silseth, which I believe in him. I think he's going to be a pretty solid pitcher down the line. He's just shown flashes kind of on either side. A lot of good, a lot of bad. When he's on, he's on. But when he doesn't have command of the strike zone, it's a little concerning. So for
the splitter, it's why these guys look inconsistent, because when he's landing it, he's awesome.
It's lights out.
Not, they just wait for the fastball, and the fastball isn't good enough.
Exactly. And that is one of the very few things that Oakland has done well kind of towards the end of the season. If they have a pitcher that's not throwing off speed or doesn't have great command of it, they just wait for the fastball, and they've been hitting it. Like especially the disciplined A's.
Look at the disciplined A's.
I know. Who would have thought, man? Who would have thought? But I'm taking a stab today at the A's. Disgusting to say, but we have to do it.
I don't hate it. MidMajor Matt came in hot. He said the wrong team is favored. Do you know what he took?
Ooh, what did he
took A's -1.5 for +185 for 3 units.
That is a sicko play.
That is called a number type, but it might hit. You know what he took yesterday? You know what he took yesterday? First 5 under 2.5. For +220 in Orioles versus Red Sox game ended 1-0, hit a fucking banger.
Ooh.
And he bet that you see his bet slip like he's betting these plays.
Oh, he's in his bag. He's in his bag
right now.
Yeah. He's 10 feet deep in the duff, man. That's crazy.
And it's not like the Angels, like everyone's saying, oh, the A's stink. Like, what are the Angels good? They're horrible. Like,
yeah, they're bad. They're like, I mean, I don't see all that much of a difference at this point in the season.
Me neither.
Those two teams. So, by the way, A's lineup just dropped. Ryan Noda is leading off and has a 0.5 total base square on PrizePicks, so do with that what you will. Yourself in chat.
Go.
Yeah, take a little stab. I locked it in for a little bit. I was probably going to do that anyway, but yeah, that's where I'm at. Next play,
number 2.
Move to it.
What do we got here, Bruce? Going the over. Now you're going against MidMajor.
Ooh, I mean, that honestly might be what I need, because if we both win together, that doesn't do anything for anybody. I guess it could for him because he's throwing nukes out here. But yeah, I think this is a weird end of the games or end of the year series with Detroit. I mean, obviously you have a pretty big emotional series with Miggy coming back for his last couple of games here. If the baseballs are juiced against Cal Quantrill, I wouldn't be so shocked. But I also think this is like the weird game for Cal Quantrill after he's been pitching so well. Yeah, there he is right up there. He's been pitching so well. I think kind of the end of the season against the sleepy Tigers lineup, this is the one where he comes out and gives up a couple of runs. Same time for Joey Wentz. With Joey Wentz, on paper, I mean, the Guardians team has been pitiful against lefties and really hasn't gotten any better throughout the end of the season here. But Joey Wentz is no regular lefty, especially with what he's been throwing in the strike zone as of late, to kind of end the season. So I think the Guardians are just going to be pesky and annoying and put up runs. And when you get into the back end of these bullpens with these teams who are throwing out God knows what combination of pitchers at this point, this just feels like a weird game that you look up and there's 5 runs in the first 2 innings just for no reason.
You're unfortunately going to probably need the Guardians to score 9 because Cal's throwing a complete game shutout. It's his last game of the season. This is where he shows up. This unfortunately won't hit unless the Guardians put up 9, which I wouldn't put past them. No, I'm just fucking with Javon. It's just I have the 3 best players in baseball behind me: Shohei, Mookie, and Cal. It's very clear.
I mean, that's crazy. When
I'm getting a Judge painting done. So I'm going to have the actual Mount Rushmore of Major League Baseball: Judge, Mookie, Ohtani, and Cal. And Acuna could get up there, but he'd be 5th.
We can talk about Judge. I love Judge today. That's in my my next play, where he is somewhat involved.
Transition. Look at that.
Yeah. Professional transition. I love this over in Kansas City. For one last time, we're riding the the Royals bats at home to put up some runs against Carlos Rodon, who this is a spot where I think he gets absolutely destroyed. Again, he's been kind of getting it together. I mean, he's looked a lot better than he did when he first initially came back. So there's been some significant improvement, although matchups have helped a little bit, I will say. This is just one of those spots. I know it's the end of the season, but the Royals at home against these pitchers that have been on good streaks, kind of getting their stuff together, that's kind of where they go to die, in these little sneaky spots. And the Astros, as they started to heat up towards the end of the season and take control of the wild card race a little bit, they went at home and got swept by Kansas City in a really weird series there. This is one where I think the Royals, not that the Yankees are playing for much, but they're going to put up runs on Carlos Rodon. And then on the other side, I mean, what do I have to say about Jordan Lyles? I mean, he's had a sneakily decent run for most of his starts on his own, but big fly ball pitcher going up against Aaron Judge and Gleyber Torres at the top of that lineup. Yes, the Yankees lineup has been pretty mushy down at the end, but if you're going to get anything from the guys like, I guess even at the top, like an Austin Wells or anybody like that, they've been coming through with a lot of fly balls and a lot of home runs. That's how they've been scoring the majority of their runs when they do see the ball pretty well. So like Jordan Lyles today, I don't think is up for a very good start himself. So I think this is just a random shootout with a lot of bad pitching. And of course, when we get into the Royals bullpen, it gets even worse. So I wanted to take them to win the game straight up, but I just went with the runs.
So producer going saying Ollie's still on call, doesn't know if he'll be good by 6:15. So keep Javon on to talk MLB slate after his NFL if you want, because Cali Wager is stuck in traffic. Javon, you got shit to do?
No, not immediately.
Amazing.
I got a little bit of time.
Yeah, just let me know when you got to bounce.
Yeah.
Your 3 MLB plays, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's it for MLB.
What about NFL?
Let's tap in. Titans plus 2.5. Mandatory.
I was telling Krabs the same thing. It was like, and he kind of made fun of me, and for good reason. I really like this spot, and I was going to play it, but I was like, I either want to take Titans money line because Burrow's not going to look good, or Burrow's going to do what Deshaun Watson and other quarterbacks have done if he finally clicks, because this Titans pass defense is so bad that they're just streaking around the field. Like, and I'm so surprised because Vrabel is so good defensively and he's able to hide some of the weaknesses normally on defenses, but this Titans secondary has been so underwhelming. So if he's moderately healthy, he's going to throw all day on this team and they win by 10. But if he's not healthy, Titans are going to win this game outright. That's why I was like, screw the points. Give me the Titans money line or Bengals minus 6.5. So what do you think about that?
Initially, I kind of felt the same way. And the more I look this game, you know what this game reminds me of? This reminds me of Titans Saints from week 1, where there's going to be a lot of field goals, in my opinion. So I want to take the points when I know there's going to be, heavy red zone inefficiency, which is not the hottest take, especially from the Titans side of things, but it's going to be a field goal fest. That's why I chose to take the points and not just go straight for the value with the money line, because I do think it's going to be a pretty close competitive game, especially like the Titans secondary. I mean, I faded him last week because I thought Deshaun Watson would do to them. And it's not to say that Burrow can't do the same if he's healthy, but I'm going to pay to find out that he's not completely healthy. And if you're going to make this team let Joe Burrow, who's banged up and still looks a little off with that calf, his arm and his playmaking from that perspective is going to have to be the way to beat a really good defense, a really good front seven, I'll pay to find out. So like, I think this line is sitting here for a reason at 2.5 with the I know he came on and said he's been saying all week, no chance the Bengals start off and with one win. They eventually got to win. I mean, this looked good in prime time at the very least. The defense looked good and much improved. How is Tennessee going to move the ball against this defense? I think it's going to be a multitude of ways, to be honest with you. I feel somewhat confident that they're going to be able to move the ball and at least get themselves in position to kick a couple field goals, unlike they did in Cleveland.
Shout out to Anthony DeBundo. He came on, it was either 2 weeks ago or last week. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it was definitely 2 weeks ago because it was before the Rams game ever started. He said he put a fairly large wager on Bengals to miss the playoffs at even money. And I was like, he looks pretty good right here, because if they don't win this game, it's starting to get a little tough. And considering when you look how good the Ravens are, when you look how good the Browns are, now the Steelers, they're not going to compete there. But those two teams, they're better than the Bengals right now. So they need to go on a really big run, which they've proven to do so before.
Yeah, it's not that they're not capable.
I love it,
with Burrow, I mean, Burrow ain't healthy. I don't know if they're quite as capable as past years in doing that. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to say the least. I think this week too, I mean, the big issue for the Bengals has been their the rush defense. So, I mean, I know Derrick Henry hasn't been incredibly healthy. Tajay Spears has been getting more snaps. we'll see how that kind of situation plays out. But I think they're going to exploit that, which in turn, I won't get into the prize picks entry until it comes up here. But in turn, I think Tannehill has a pretty decent day just targeting DeAndre Hopkins. I think it's going to look like an Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams situation. With
what a take.
Not obviously the skill level. I'm just talking about the amount of targeting that he's going to get on. Because, I mean, you have no Treylon Burks this week either. He's going to be out. So it's going to be a lot of looks his way. I think he's going to take advantage of it. Won't look as pretty as Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, obviously. But
or like just Stafford his entire career.
Stafford
just targeting one wide receiver. It was Calvin Johnson. Then it was Cooper Kupp. And now it's Puka Nacua. But also shout out to Tutu Atwell. Let's get to play number 2. What else are we on? 49ers minus the 14.
Yeah, I think I heard DeGen come on here and sell it. So I won't go too far there. But Josh Dobbs in this offense, he's been really conservative with the football. He's honestly been very impressive. And I'm not just coming on here and saying, oh, it's the 49ers defense. And he's played, the Commanders and a couple other defenses. Then he got to the Cowboys, who I think are still a little bit of a fraudulent defense. And he looked great. I don't think it can last against the 49ers. Absolutely. But this is also going to be a much different level of pressure that this defense is going to bring onto him. Like I said, 2.5, I guess, defenses that he faced that really didn't put much pressure on him. And on paper, the Cowboys should have put a lot more pressure with that front seven on them than they did, but they didn't. And he looked good. And that's why he was able to kind of dissect that defense to a level. And the play calling from the Cardinals was also great in that game. I don't think it's going to be allowed to happen here. I honestly was going to put a large amount on Josh Dobbs' interception before it got taken off the board on prize picks because the juice got pretty fat towards the over. But yeah, I think there's going to be his first mistakes of the year kind of this season. And he's not going to look good moving the ball in that offense or on that defense. And then 49ers, they're just going to run the ball down their throats. It's not the hottest take. I think they're going to do to the Cardinals what we've expected teams to do to the Cardinals, especially like last week with the Cowboys. So nothing too complicated there for me.
Here, before we get to pick number 3, TikTok, I'm going to end the live. I see my phone is on 2%. We're still on @JustBaseballFans on Twitch. Come over and watch the rest of the show. We're going to go for about another 45-ish minutes. I'll see you guys on there. My phone's about to die.
There we go.
Perfect.
That's hard.
All right, let's get to play number 3. What else we got?
Yeah, the over.
I don't know if I love this play. I know I've seen you talk on BTL about it, and I don't remember. Someone else is on the over on this stream too. Producer Conan, if you could let me know. I think someone else is on the over. You got Bill Vinovich, the ref. Under King averages 36.4. Oh, MidMajor Matt is on the under. Okay, so never mind. I kind of like the under here, Javon, but I'm very willing to be, because I'm not on the under. I just leaned it when I saw it. I didn't bet it. I'm actually on the Texans plus the 3. I'm very curious. Why do you think it's going over? Please tell me it's because the Texans score.
I mean, yeah, I think it's because the Texans score. It was between Texans and the over for me, and it's not really that I like the Texans any less than the over, but the over, especially with these totals sitting in like 42, 42.5. I've had like one each week that partially I like for analytical purposes, but also it's just my feeling in my gut that I have to take it. This is the one for this week. Yeah, it's a plums bet, but also I like it too. The Texans offense, I think, despite the offensive line issues, I think they're going to be unlocked in a little different of a way here in this game, which the Steelers, I don't think they're going to have to blitz like a lot of the other teams have been kind of loading the box and doing against the Texans early in the season, kind of saying, hey, CJ Stroud is a little unproven. We're going to make him beat him with his arm. At this point, I think he can say he's proven that he can do that early in the season. So now you have a Steelers front seven that can get kind of a original pressure. Like they're not going to have to send any extra in the box, which a big reason why I'm worried or was worried about this Texans offense kind of down the road is because when they go up against better defenses, it's easy to see that they're a little one-dimensional. So that's a little bit of the issue right now because they're not being efficient from the running game standpoint. And yes, some of that has to do certainly with all of the offensive line issues they have, which this week in theory would be an issue itself. But I kind of think their offensive line is going to be okay, especially when this is a team who's not going to beat you to the sidelines, which would be my concern, especially when you have TJ Watt on the outside going up against God knows who for that offensive line this week. But I think they're going to beat him through the tackles, which that's been the big issue, I guess, use-wise with Dameon Pierce this season. It's not as much of that, and it's a lot more to the sideline like he was struggling with kind of towards the end of last season. So I think Dameon Pierce has a pretty big day, which, again, in turn, teams are going to not have to load the box a lot more because of what they're doing in the receiving game. When you have Nico Collins and Tank Dell and CJ Stroud, that connection between those guys has been absolutely pristine. So I think the Texans are going to open up the running game, which is going to open up everything for that offense, kind of even more than we've seen. So against a tough matchup with the front seven, I have confidence in the Texans offense kind of moving the ball. And then Kenny Pickett, again, I still have a lot of confidence in him. It really comes down to play calling, which I saw improvements, kind of strides in that area against the Raiders in that Sunday night game last week. The one thing that I thought was missing earlier in the season was the timing of a couple of these shot plays. And I think they kind of got that. Not to say that the Raiders defense is really anything special to behold, but I think the play calling and the connection with Kenny Pickett is getting a lot better than people realize. So against the Texans defense that I still think is very good, I think they're talented, and they've shown that early in the season. Prove it. I'll pay.
I think it's fair. It's more than fair. You're paying to prove it. My one thing is why I like the unders. I think the Steelers are still going to have a tough time scoring because I think the Raiders defense being so pitiful and the fact that they played pretty well, they didn't play great. I still think Matt Canada is arguably the worst offensive coordinator in the NFL.
Yeah, it's not going to pay any favors.
I still exactly. That's why I still believe in Kenny Pickett. I think CJ Stroud is a better quarterback, though. I do. I think if you had CJ Stroud with Matt Canada and you had Kenny Pickett with the Texans, I forget the offensive coordinator's name for the Texans, I still think CJ Stroud would be better. So I think I have the better quarterback. Obviously, you have the better defense with the Steelers, but at the same time, they can't run the ball. And Kenny Pickett has to throw to George Pickens, and the Texans got a couple of really good young corners. So I think the Steelers are going to have a tough time scoring. The thing is, tough time scoring in quotes, the total's 42. It ain't 50, right?
Yeah.
So if the Steelers put up 21 and the Texans put up 24, that's still relatively low scoring, but it ends on 45. So that's why, I see where you're going with the over. And I lean the under. I'm definitely not betting it now. It was a good pitch. But I think it's going to be the Texans really putting up the points here.
I agree. I think the one thing that kind of is in the plums for me about this game is explosive plays from the Texans. Not that they're just going to be efficient, but I think the fact they're opening up the run game, you're going to see another deep shot to Tank Dell or a 50-yard bomb to Nico Collins, which, it's going to open up the offense.
I agree. I think there's going to be some big plays. You know why I think this over is going to hit? I think there's going to be a defensive, a pick six.
I think
it's one of these Houston corners, picking off Kenny Pickett, running it back, kind of similar to how the over got off to such a great start last night, Thursday Night Football, right? Jared Goff drops back for his first or second pass, immediate pick in the red zone. Now the Green Bay Packers were inefficient in the red zone, but they still put up points that. That's the stuff that leads to overs. And
especially
I think you're going to get one of those.
In Houston. I feel like every time in Houston, not even every time, a couple times a year, despite how good or bad their team is, there's just one of these weird games where just a lot of fluke shit happens, whether it's defensive touchdowns, whether it's, penalties you've never seen before, whether it's 95-yard touchdowns. This just feels like the game to me. And it's, again, half plums, half actual analysis, but I'm willing to lean into them both.
More than fair. Let's get into the Prize Picks entry.
Yeah, I kind of mentioned both these, but Dameon Pierce, I'll be laddering him this week, despite the O-line issues.
He's on my fantasy team. I really need him.
Yeah, I think he goes for 75, 80 in this game. And it's crazy to say with the O-line issues that they have. I think they have damn near every starter out on the offensive line. But I think, again, this is a Steelers defensive line that knows that they can get natural pressure, which a lot of what we've seen against the Texans has been a loaded box, which I'm not going to say the offensive line's been great. I'm not going to say Dameon Pierce has been efficient because those are simply not true. But a lot of stacked boxes that you've seen. I don't know if we're going to see the same level of that. And especially when we've seen CJ Stroud just be CJ Stroud for the past couple of weeks. And the Steelers secondary, realistically, they know that they're just going to have to sit back and not let him beat him. So, I think it's going to be an open-up run game for Dameon Pierce. So I think he feasts, personally. Another explosive guy, explosive play that I wouldn't be shocked to see for the first time this season would come from his legs. Then DeAndre Hopkins, this is the grossest two-piece I think I've put this NFL season. Even though it is DeAndre Hopkins, I don't think anybody wants to back Ryan Tannehill. I'll do it because I think he's going to be in for a massive target share this week because I do think the Titans keep themselves in this game, and it's not necessarily going to be from efficiency by Tyjae Spears or Derrick Henry, which I certainly think they get theirs against the way that they match up against this Bengals defensive front. But with no why is he slipping my name? wide receiver for the Titans not playing.
Treylon Burks.
Treylon Burks. I don't know how that slipped my mind, but
You've been
no
talking
Treylon
for a
Burks.
long time. You did a full
Yeah,
PTL
I mean,
thing
we've
you're
been
doing here.
Yeah, we've been going through a lot for damn near 4.5 hours now, so I get a little pass. But yeah, no Treylon Burks. I think where you see Tannehill look to him early and often in this game, and that's really, again, them knowing that they're going to have to keep in this game one way or another. And I think through the pass game there, it's going to be Ryan Tannehill, DeAndre Hopkins. So we're going to see maybe a little vintage Hopkins performance here, at least early in the game.
A little vintage Hopkins performance. Javon, appreciate you. We got to move on to Ollie, who is ahead of you in the MLB standings. But you got some
Shout out
MLB
to Ollie.
plays.
Ollie's been cooking.
Ollie has been cooking. So proud of Ollie. He was doing half units for a while. He's just staying in. Turtle wins the race. And this is the last day. Appreciate you coming on, my friend. I know you've been talking for a while. Go take a nap. You earned it.
I only got half an hour until we hop on another stream, so got no nap.
Well, I'll talk to you soon, all right?
Yeah, got you.
Peace. We got Ollie 1 unit. Do we have the champion in queue? Oh, you're muted.
Maybe.
Look at you. How do you feel?
Well,
Can you
find
flash the
out.
leaderboard for us, Producer Cohen? Look at that.
You know, I've said this a few times now, but I just want to hammer this home. I care about winning this more than going to a World Series game. I know I said that last week, but if the Just Baseball guy gets a group of baseball people he think can compete in a season-long thing, and I come out on top, that's got to hold some weight.
Can we get some W Ollies in the chat? I mean, come on
we'll
here,
see how
folks.
it goes. We're not done yet.
I know
Job's
you're not
not
done yet,
finished.
and it's not a guaranteed win. I'm not saying anything like that, but just the fact that on the last day of the regular season, at least for this stream, you are up 13 units. What a season.
Yeah, how about that? Not bad. If I held to something more like that and didn't bet so many props straight, I would be around there for my actual season as well. I'm not a prop guy. Found that out. Tried to make it work, just not a prop guy.
Well, good thing we don't have any props. We got game picks, your specialty.
Yes,
Let's get
we've
into
got
pick number 1.
two. You know, I could have sat there on my hands, twiddled my thumbs, and watched the world burn. But Ted Williams, what did he do when he had to hit 400? He said, "Nah, coach, put me in there," and he hit 406. So that's what we're going for. Give me Dylan Cease on the first 5 money line for the last time this year. I'm a sucker. I started out the season betting Dylan Cease first 5 money line. I'm going to end the season doing it too. Not necessarily a good spot. He's not necessarily a good pitcher this year. But the Padres aren't a good hitting team. I know they have the star power, but at home, Dylan Cease first 5 money line at plus 100 against Nick Martinez and company. I just hope Blue Bob's got my back here and can put something across the board for me.
Can't hate it.
That's all there is to it. Yeah.
Play number 2. What do we got?
Yeah, play number 2. The only other play.
You and Javon now are on this play together.
Yeah, I just saw maybe 5 minutes ago because I've been pretty busy working this afternoon. But yeah, I saw this is the BTL squad ride, so win-win for me, I guess. The fact the guy behind me is on the same play.
Yeah, then you'll be fine.
But it's the last day I get to fade Jordan Lyles, which I've been doing pretty religiously this year in one way or another. Whether it's a good value on the other team to score first or the other team first 5 money line or whatever it may be. Lately, it's been the over just because they've been kind of shorter lines and against worse teams. And the Yankees have been a little bit better versus right-handed pitching lately. But obviously, they have home run threats at the top of the lineup, and that's what Jordan Lyles does, give a bunch of home runs. And on the flip side, that Royals lineup has still been kind of hitting lately, so I think they can get some runs across in the first game of the series.
What can I say? You're hot.
I don't know.
You're betting on the Yankees to score runs. How many runs do you think the Royals score against Rodon? Like, give me a final score prediction.
That man, Rodon, a guy that I wanted in Boston so badly, but I'm right now happy that he's not.
What I will say is something that could perfectly happen for you, because Javon took 9.5 at plus 100. You're on 9 at minus 110. 5-4 game you push, he loses. I mean, if we're just talking competition wise.
Yeah, I know. Who are the A's playing again today?
A's are playing the Angels.
Yeah, big Halos fan tonight.
Yeah,
because I saw it. If Matt hits that A's run line, I might be in trouble. but we'll
Be
see.
in trouble.
We'll see how it goes. I'm big Halos fan, so that's that's kind of the analysis. Rodon could go out there and just fucking shove, but what we've been seeing lately, like these guys aren't going like a full 7 innings. Besides Garrett Cole pitching the complete game shut piece,
He's a dog.
Congrats on the Cy Young.
Thank you.
It's better than nothing. It's better than
Thank
what the Red Sox got. They're going to get 0 awards this year. I'll take a Cy Young over nothing.
You don't think Brian Bale? Brian Bale has been good, right?
He's been all right.
Yeah.
He showed promise. I really did think Tristan Casas was going to sneak in his way to the Rookie of the Year, but injury and Gunnar just kept being insane.
Yeah.
We'll take a runner-up, though.
Ollie, 2 plays, 2 winners. W's again for Ollie.
8-4 Royals dub, Jeff. I'm in on that. Yep. Send me to the red seat. I like that picture. That's a great that he grabbed that picture just from this second because my hair was the same weird way. So
I guarantee you took a screenshot and searched Ted Williams.
Yeah.
Speedy.
What a demon. Speedy demon. All right. Yeah, that's it. I do have a football play. I know I didn't submit it, but I'm taking the over in the Bears and Broncos game. Over 46, I think.
That's going to be your one NFL play. You're going to spend your Sunday watching that one.
I am not proud of it. I actually don't even think it's good anymore because I placed it on Tuesday and I've seen a bunch of bots on it. So I'm like, God damn it, I fell for this shit again. Fuck. So that thing's not hitting. But I don't know how you lock into your sports book and watch NFL games and root for unders. Talk about not having fun. That shit is miserable.
You know what's better though? Making money. That's what makes
it. That's where we part ways.
Good point. What have you been doing differently from last season? Just for other MLB bettors trying to be better next. Okay. I have had a bad MLB season too. Like what's been the key to doing so well?
My last year was my first year betting MLB, and I didn't track everything properly. First off, I did a lot of late night chases without any research. Relied. That was one thing. So late night chases, lost a lot of money on that. Oh, I'm down 1 unit. What's another unit? Over 162 days, that adds up.
Yeah.
You saw me do a lot of half unit plays this year because when you have a season with 400, 500 plays, why are we betting 7 units a day? It didn't make sense to me. So I scaled down a lot this year, especially when I was cold and not seeing it well, like in April and May. I was like, I'm going to reel it back until I figure this out. Just limit the losses. And let's see. Well, the other thing I did, especially in August and September when I really found my groove this year, which is when I really, really fell apart last year. I think I lost like 30 units in August last year. But this year I had a rough start and then I really picked it up. I just really stopped overthinking it. I told myself, like, let's make some adjustments. This is going to sound crazy. I stopped using Fangraphs. I stopped using Baseball Savant. And I looked at the board. I looked at the people that I liked and what I think was going to happen. It turns out I do know baseball kind of okay. So that's what led me to it. There are times where I'm going to pull up Baseball Reference and just look at kind of basic stats. How does this guy do during the day? How does this guy do during night? How does he do with this catcher? How does he do with that catcher? How does he do against good teams versus bad teams? The basic stats like that can help you win bets just as much as the Baseball Savant, the analytics, the WRC Plus, because I still think all those things are so important. But when you dive so far down, you're just twisting up and thinking so many different things. It's hard to land on a play because you also have to remember Vegas and the people that are studying these lines have access to all this information and so much more. So you can't outsmart them. You just have to take the plays that you think you have some type of knowledge edge, whether it's an actual knowledge edge or whether it's just in those good old plums of yours.
Well, if there's any plums you want to trust right now, he bet with his plums.
And with baseball,
plum season.
162 games, 30 teams. That's roughly 2,000 games a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are not nearly as many trappy, fishy lines on a day-to-day basis in MLB as there are in the NFL, or as the NBA, or as the NHL. And I think people these days, especially Twitter bettors, are so obsessed with betting splits and betting that way. I just don't think you can sustain that in MLB. Now, people have found a way to do that, and however it works, I'm happy for you. That does not work for me. I cannot read line that way on a day-to-day basis in MLB where there's I don't know. I just don't think it's weird. You can do that in NFL, but even nowadays, I don't know if you saw what DGen and his buddy Stake were saying, but all these sports books tweeting out 78% of the people are on this bet. Watch out, all to make you go the other way. I don't know
what they did on the lines last night.
Yeah, and
everything was like, oh, the public is all over the Lions.
Right.
The most public play. It would be a great thing for the sports book if the Packers win. What the Lions do? They beat the living piss out of them.
And real quick before I leave, McLovin said, "I wonder what your record would be in MLB if you took unders only on every game every day." I saw a tweet today that said MLB unders this year are 500, almost to the number.
The books are amazing.
So that is
They're
just another
amazing.
example of how good they are. Pick your spots. Even I do bet every day, but you don't have to bet every day, especially in baseball. It's a long fucking season. Take your time. I was saying this back in April when I was down 4-U into this competition when people were up 20, and I was like, it's a long year. We'll see you at the end. And I'm here. Half those people aren't. We'll see how it goes.
Congratulations, Ollie.
All right.
Congratulations on a great season.
We'll see how it goes. Let's
the
finish
only
it.
issue is we got to get you up in the NFL.
Yeah. I mean, that's a whole nother beast, whole different sport. I'm learning.
We're learning.
We're learning. Hit the over last night, so maybe that'll build some
Oh,
momentum. I don't
you're
know.
1-1.
Yeah.
Down a little bit of change.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
All right, my friend. We'll talk
right.
to you later. We're about to bring on Callie.
All right,
Talk
see
to
ya.
you, my friend. California Wager. How are you?
Not too bad. How are you?
I'm excited. I've been streaming for a while. I love all the plays that have been pitched. MLB and NFL, just MLB. What we got today?
NFL, MLB, NCAA football.
Let's fucking talk about it. Let's start with MLB because we're on a good track right now with Ollie, the leader in the competition. Shout out Ollie 1 unit.
Yeah. Shout out Ollie. Shout out Ollie for being net positive on the year. We know how hard that is in baseball.
Yeah.
I know as well as anybody, and it's ups and downs. And I'm happy with my second half. Obviously, the leaderboard's down there, but you know as well as I have that it's been a good second half for baseball. And yeah, it's just a different animal later in the year, and I think that kind of fits the model that I use with like today, for example. So yeah, I'm on the Marlins today.
Or Mariners?
I'm Marlins and Mariners today. He might only see Mariners.
We got Marlins up, so we'll talk about Marlins first once it's on the mind.
Obviously, a tough spot with how yesterday went. What a just complete nightmare disaster that was. Just we're not even going to go down that road. But yeah, that's tough. Besides being a really tough turnaround, a lot of it can be made up with motivation. The energy that, hey, they came back yesterday. They put themselves right back into an amazing spot. And you're going up against a Pittsburgh squad that is beatable. Obviously, it's tough having to travel spot to spot like this. But I think more than anything, like I said yesterday, momentum and just having that spot right there within grasp is so meaningful that you're already tired. We know this. It's like the NFL. Everybody's hurt already. This adds that little bit of extra motivation. I think the Marlins are capable of finding a way to get it done. Wasn't pretty yesterday. Still, obviously, finishing with that. But I like the fact that this team is fighting, just absolutely fighting. And they've done it all year. And, why not?
Just before we get into your next pick, Flash the Donna has a question about that Royals versus Yankees game. I know a lot of smart people. Ollie is on it, who has done better than me this year. Javon's on it. It's a squad ride. I got to be honest, I don't love it. And
everybody's on the over?
Yeah, a lot of people like the over. The reason I don't love it is it's kind of a bad travel spot for the Yankees, going straight from Toronto to Kansas City, especially at the end of the season like this. I could see in this game that they come out a little bit flat. Then on the flip side, Rodon has made changes. Now, the Royals can hit him. I wouldn't be surprised. but the Royals aren't crazy prolific against lefties, and Rodon keeps getting better and better. And I could see kind of when MidMajor came on and he faded Garrett Cole, I think a guy like Rodon is going to give you his best effort in this start. He wants to put kind of a good feeling in the back of mind of Yankee fans and just the general public. Like, this is the start that he's going into. I think you're going to get a really focused Rodon. But with that said, I could see the Yankees piling on the Royals bullpen when they start to get adjusted, and I wouldn't be surprised. So I could see this game trickling over late. I would personally not mind taking the first 5 under, but I am a Yankee fan, and I'm not betting on this game. But you asked for my opinion, Derek, JP03, Fade the Fan P. I get what you're saying, but I'm just giving you my best shot at this game. All right, let's talk about Mariners.
How can I go against the Mariners? You look at how they finished yesterday. This just seems too magical for me to go against right now. I kind of throw the numbers out the window. I just think that the Mariners are they're playing the right way. They're just in every single ball game. You can't ignore the fact that they're talented top to bottom. They're playing well. They're also playing certain guys playing above expectations right now, and that's what you need at this time of the year to make a push. Obviously, I love that hat that you're rocking right now as I see it. But
you know the future I'm on, right? We got 2 units on 87.5 wins on the over for the Mariners, and they're at 86 with 3 games left. Oh shit!
I'm quietly on the KT Wiz 80-1 when they were in 9th place earlier in the year. So LG lost again last night. So
are you looking? Is that good? I mean, you're talking about
KT is, I believe, 3 games back now of first place after being in 9th place.
When is the KBO season over?
It'll end in November.
Oh, so we still got time.
Yes, we still have time. There's still 25, 30 games left. So KT's playing. I took KT preseason at 9-1. So, they got hurt and the market they don't know what they're doing sometimes with that stuff. So it was a good opportunity, but yeah, so hard to ignore, just what the Mariners are doing. I understand baseball enough that, man, when momentum is on a roll, everybody's just seeing the ball better. Everyone's confident. There's just so much that goes into that. The ball seems to fall the right way or bounce the right way at times. And I just feel like the Mariners are just impossible to go against right now. So I am riding them again. So I will take them again this evening.
Love it. It's a tough spot with Brian Wu struggles against the Rangers, but at the same time, there's a little bit of magic in there. And at the same time, right, the Rangers had the lead yesterday, and how'd that go?
And do we see the Rangers have not been a team that goes win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. When they lose, they start just losing. It's been ups and it's been downs, and this team has been nowhere in between.
That's a great point, actually. Let's get to NFL plays.
Yeah. So NFL, I want to double check that he got it in. So we got Patriots -7 on there.
Or +7.
+7, I'm sorry. Well, maybe I like the Patriots -7 too. Obviously, I'm a Cowboys hater. That's for one. But I'm going to be honest. I just look at the 2 coaching staffs in this game. And to me, Belichick is going to find a way to drag this game out. And I don't have any faith in Dak Prescott. I haven't before. I'm not going to again. You're going up against basically the best defensive schemer that we've seen in how long? I mean, Belichick is incredible with what he puts together. I don't think the Cowboy factor of playing in Dallas makes that big of a difference anywhere. I just don't. What used to be a bigger factor to me doesn't have that difference. I've got no faith in McCarthy. He is one of my least favorite coaches. He finds ways to lose games. He makes terrible decisions over and over and over again. 7 still right there. I know it's dropped a little bit. That was as low as I would let it go, with 7. But I just think that with the way that the Patriots are able to run their offense, if they are at least somewhat consistent and can get that clock drained, I don't have any faith that this Cowboys team deserves to be more than a touchdown favorite. And I'll take the 7 right now. So I liked where I got it, and prove me something different, Dak. Just show me. I don't care that you beat the Giants by 400 points. They're terrible. That was the biggest fraud win to me ever, how it was shown. And I think it still does give some value. So I'm on the Patriots, and I think that 7 is a good number for them.
My only issue, because I lean with you generally, but I am very, very high on this Cowboys team. I know you aren't. I just think this is where the spread should be, because I'm also a little bit lower on the Patriots. But after losing against the Cardinals, I think you get the most focused Cowboys team possible. But you know what the Cardinals kind of showed? If you run straight at Micah Parsons, like you can kind of take him out of the ball game. And that is big. That is something that I really want to watch moving forward because, like I said, I am on the Cowboys over 9.5 wins. I'm on them to win the division. But if that's something, I might look for a way to buy out because if after all the tape on the Cowboys defense has come out and the Cardinals put up 28, and let's say the Patriots, after being anemic on offense, do the same thing and keep this game really close, we got a problem in Dallas. Let's go to play number 2.
Yeah, doesn't it simplify things when you know you're just going to commit to the run and commit to a side, and then it does expose those few play actions that make a fairly average Mac Jones into somebody better when there's multiple targets because you starting to overcompensate for a side.
Absolutely. Let's go to play number 2.
There is, something. Yeah, so Dolphins. Took Dolphins.
You brought it up to minus 140. What are you doing? If you like the Dolphins so much, take them at 2.5. I took the Bills at 2.5. This one's a loser. No, I'm just kidding.
I got Dolphins for VIP at 3.5. I have Dolphins in a teaser for my max play at 10.5. So I like where it is. Obviously, blah blah blah. It's a big public play and all this and that. But I'm beyond impressed with what I've seen with the transition of last year to this year. Tua looks like a different quarterback. I think that what we did hear and see a lot about was, him learning how to take a hit, learning how to fall. And a lot of guys that haven't really had that happen that are so talented, don't know how to get hit, don't know how to fall, don't know how to fail. And I think that he has learned a lot about himself, his game, his body. And I just am beyond impressed with what I've seen so far. And honestly, I'm not really sure what you're going to do to stop them with multiple targets and the way that they're able to throw the deep ball as well as beat you up underneath. It's tough to see. And it's going to just have to be a back and forth game. Let's be honest. What has been the problem with Buffalo? I mean, we just continue to get turnovers in key times. How many times did we watch it week 1 in prime time? That's been the biggest thing holding back. Everybody in terms of a Buffalo fan base is those massive late turnovers, those key turnovers, those bad decisions. And I love Josh Allen. He's a great quarterback, but push comes to shove. There just seems to be that, always, that big letdown near the end. And I just think that right now I do lean the over as well a little bit, obviously, but I think score for score, Allen makes more mistakes than Tua does in this. I think that both teams go up and down and they can score on each other, but I think that Allen makes more forced decisions, and you playing on a short field against Miami is not what you want to do. So I got him early at 3.5, and continues to move down right now as we see.
Well, because you got him a minus 140. So minus it's going up to 3. Yeah, I mean, if you buy the Dolphins to 3.5, they're still going to be minus 140. But what I will say is I think it's a bad spot in general for the Dolphins. You got a lot of road games in a row, coming back from Denver after scoring 70, and the Bills, they have by EPA per play success rate the second best defense in the NFL, coming off playing the worst defense. Now going up to Buffalo, facing the second best defense in the NFL, I don't think that's a good recipe. So, Tua can look amazing against makeshift defenses. At the end of the day, they put up 24 against the Patriots, and the Bills have a better defense than them. But what did they do? They mollywhopped the Chargers defense, who ranks 28th in EPA per play, and they destroyed the Broncos defense, who ranks 32nd. I think this is a much bigger step up for him in Buffalo, on the road, public play. And I think the Bills are the better team because while the Dolphins have the better offense, Bills have the third-ranked offense. So, and I look at the Miami defense at 16th ranked in EPA per play. I get the Bills at home under a field goal. That's the side I'm going to be on. I understand being on 3.5 because I could very well see this being a last-minute field goal for the Bills to win, and you win your 3.5. So I get it, but laying the juice like that, normally I didn't give it at minus 140. I gave it at what the line was minus 110 for myself. So that's where that changed on the juice on there. So I'd still play it at 3, but no lower than 3. Okay. No, that's fair.
Yeah,
and do you have any more plays?
I have college tonight. I got a free play for college. And it is taken in 15 minutes. We're taking Louisville, minus 3.5. I think it is across the board right now. I think that at minus 140, worthwhile if you can get it. I think it moved up though now, and it's 175 or 170. So, another example of why you do your research, have multiple outlets. Obviously, you want to make sure you're looking and finding the best lines, and always, give yourself the long-term value, right? You want to find it. Hey, and if you can't find the number, what's the best play ever? A no play.
Exactly. So is this a parlay, Louisville 3.5 and Cincinnati pick, or you have Louisville and then you have Cincinnati?
I like Louisville minus 3.5, and then I like Cincinnati. I got them at Pick'em. That's been going back and forth between +1, -1, and both sides of that. So I do like Cincinnati. Think that one's going to be a struggle, but I do like them on the road, and I think Louisville wins by a little bit of margin tonight. I think they handle business.
Well, Cali Wager, appreciate your time, my friend. Unfortunately, you're going to lose with the Dolphins, but you're going to win all the rest of your plays.
I got to say, we hit max play number 150 last night in KBO. We got there. So we've made it, and we're back at it again tonight. So we'll see if we can get a nap in for an hour or two.
For anybody listening, Cali Wager is the guy to know in the KBO space. That's the reason why he's on the show. Is him and I were on the show, and he was just destroying college baseball and KBO. And I was like, "You do MLB too?" And he's like, "Yes, sir, I do." Excited to have you back on, Cali. Appreciate the time. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll talk to you back on Monday. All right?
You too. Have a good weekend.
Talk to my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm freaking tired. I've been streaming for what feels like 7 hours of commercial-free NFL football. I just made a stupid comparison to Red Zone. I will never be Scott Hansen. Also, low-key thing about Scott Hansen, him and I both went to Syracuse. Am I the next Scott Hansen? People are starting to say. Scott Hansen played cornerback at Syracuse? Something just to put in your back pocket you may never use, but you might use that at a bar one time when you're watching Red Zone. Just say, oh, Scott Hansen played corner at Q's. People are like, oh, that guy knows ball. We should do Red Zone for MLB from Cohen. I agree. Well, no, we have MLB Big Inning on the MLB app. Keep going. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pretty freaking beat. Do we want to go Javon about the stream again? Yeah, why don't you guys just head over to Javon's stream at 7. Do you want me to quickly run through the MLB slate before Javon's stream at 7? You want me to? Didn't the MLB games already start? Because we went so goddamn long. I'm just checking. Yeah, why not? What game started? We got a little bit of time. Yeah. Let's just go through it. Let's go through it real quick. Pete, are the Mariners doing it? Yes. Pete ahead of the bar again this weekend for finding another drunk guy to fade? Absolutely, I am. Also, I don't know if you guys know, drunk bar guy fades 2-0. That was kind of electric, Hill Daddy 19. Was it not electric? I tweeted out. He tells me he's got a parlay. Producer Cole was there with me. He was like, I got Colorado and Ole Miss in a parlay, and he was hammered. And I was like, Eddie would want to take Oregon and Alabama, and they swept. LOL at Colorado money line. Please share on Twitter again. I absolutely will, Hill Daddy. I absolutely will. I cannot guarantee anything. They are straight. I mean, that's a great system. Like we talk about, oh, this team is this against the spread. They're this. And, Tomlin fade him this place. Just fade a hammer dude at the bar who's got a parlay running. All right, Guardians, Tigers, y'all know the drill. We take Guardians money line for everything that it's worth. Is Vladdy going to hit your season entry? No, he is not. Thank you for reminding me. He's trash. He needs what? Does he need 8 hits with 3? I think he needs 7 hits with 3 games left. That shit ain't hitting. I mean, I hope. Or 8 hits, maybe 4. I don't know. I don't think it's hitting. But we take Guardians money line for 85 units, I would say, at -110. No, but realistically, I do think the Guardians win this one. That'd be my lean there. Pavetta versus Means. Pavetta versus Means. You know what I'm going to try and do? I'm not going to look at any numbers. I'm going to give you my plums picks. These are just plums. I do not recommend tailing unless you like the thought of my plums. Pause. Let's continue to move. Pavetta Means. Orioles or dogs? Orioles. Rays versus... What are we doing here? And you could say, well, the Red Sox are favored for a reason. Sure. Let's see them win. Rays, Blue Jays. Give me the Rays. Rays or dogs? No. AL East matchups, Blue Jays always blow this one. Give me the Rays. Nationals, Braves. minus 300 with Austin Wentz. The Braves are so good. Totals of 10. I mean, don't bet on this game. That's just the most expensive thing I've ever seen. Honestly, like Nationals have value there. I mean, the Braves minus 300 when they've locked up everything. I wouldn't be surprised if the Nationals pull off a weird win here. We got Ollie 1 unit on the first 5 plus 100. I liked his pitch. I think the first 5 plus 100, and he's been hot. I think that's a good play with the White Sox tailing Dylan Cease. Right, it's the end of the year. Padres stink. It's not. What are they scaring you for? Give me the White Sox first 5 plus 100. I would tail Ollie 1 unit on that one. Twins coming into Colorado. Generally a spot you want to fade the Twins, right? Got to take time to adjust the altitude. The Twins are a perfect team to fade because they're an AL Central team. They don't know how to adjust to altitude. I know Ty Block is not any good, but I mean, Rockies win weird games. Plus 155, it's a great price. Royals, Yanks. You know, you got both guys on the over, 2 smart guys in Javon and Ollie. I don't love it. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm just going to stay away from this one because they're my Yankees and I lose every bet that I talk about with the Yankees. I'm just not going to talk about it. Cubs, Brewers. Fade the Cubs. I think it's over. Go with the Brew Crew here. Unless the Cubs want to revamp their season at the same time. I think the Brewers can play spoiler here. I would go with the Brewers money line. Reds, Cardinals. Not a good spot. I like that over. Woodford's such a piece of shit. And what I mean by that is sometimes he looks good, sometimes he doesn't look good. It's hard to tell. I still like the over. Over 9. Waldachuk, Silseth. I really like the pitches that we've heard today on the A's at plus 125. I have no disagreements. Only reason I wouldn't bet it, you're either going to get a really good Chase Silseth where he's landing the splitter or you're not going to. That's why this would be a no bet for me. But I would lean the A's with them. The value is certainly on the A's. Astros, D-backs, interesting line move. This was minus 115 up to minus 135 because I think Gallen at home, they win this game. We talked about on the Just Baseball show. I think the Astros lose this series. I would consider a Diamondbacks series price before that game starts. If you like the Diamondbacks to win this one, they got Merrill Kelly going tomorrow, and then they got Hunter Brown, a rookie, who's got an 8.44 ERA in his last handful of starts. On the road, Diamondbacks need the win. I think the Diamondbacks win the series, and I think it starts tonight. Mariners, Rangers, I need over 87.5 wins. So there might be a point where I ended up hedging, right? If they're at 87 in the last game, I might hedge, but give me the Mariners. Fuck it. We need a win. Dodgers, Giants. It's the first time in human history I don't know who that is. M. Lynn? Who did Dodgers bring up? Oh, that's why, because the letter is messed up. It's Lance Lynn. No, shit. Against Keaton win. Dodgers weirdly struggle and sometimes in these games against the Giants, but the Giants are poverty. Give me the Dodgers. I mean, what? Yeah, because no, I mean, fuck. Has Lynn faced the Giants yet? He just faced them, shoved. Oh, Keaton Wynn's coming back from an illness? COVID related, huh? It's been bad at home, but it's small sample. Yeah, give me the Dodgers. Give me them through the first 5. Giants fired Kapler. That's so interesting to me. Why would they do that? Doesn't make any sense to me. Really? Yeah, give me the Dodgers. Fuck it. Give me the Dodgers. You know what? I don't mind that system play. I really don't. I get where you're coming from there. But ladies and gentlemen, that was the end of stream. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Oh, I'm tired. It was fun, though. We'll be back on Monday. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You've seen myself take a couple of days off from betting on baseball. Not come playoff time. Let's get fired up here, ladies and gents. All right. Have a great rest of your day. Javon is streaming at 7. Definitely go pop back over to the Book stream. Javon's going to go over everything college football. Definitely dive into that man's mind. Sometimes he's got some meat on table on mind. We'll talk to you guys soon, all right? We just got to remember. You guys enjoy the stream? Let me know, right? We always like to get feedback, how to improve, improve. You guys like the stream? I had fun. I'm tired. I'm sure producer Cohen is tired. W's. Thank you guys. Again, always enjoy the stream, Peter. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you on Monday, all right? We'll be live on TikTok, our normal time on Sunday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. All right, good luck, everybody. Peace.